Last night, the Scouts fell to the Lorain County Ironmen by a score of 3-2. They had everything they needed in the last inning. They just weren't able to get the tying and eventually the winning run across. So the Scouts fall again to the Ironmen. They drop to 18-15 on the season, but have a chance to play the Ironmen again here tonight inside the Pipeyard here at Lorain County. I'm Lance Morris alongside my broadcast partner Terry Lash, and we apologize for a far back video stream today. The press box up here way behind the field and behind the bleachers in front of us, so a little bit of a far back view here tonight, but we'll do our best to, of course, bring you the play-by-play coverage, just like we do every single game for your Xenia Scouts on our Google and YouTube Hangout. And Terry, the starter for the Lorain County Ironmen, Dan Whitaker, we did see him a little bit earlier on this season in that 14-inning contest back at Grady's Field in Xenia.
And Dan Whitaker has struggled a little bit this season. He comes into today with an 8.10 ERA. He's 0-2 on the season. This is only his third start of the year, but his 11th appearance for the Ironmen. He has 15 strikeouts and 11 walks back in that 1-2 loss against the Scouts in that 14-inning affair. He only pitched a third of an inning, gave up an earned run, and only faced 2 batters.
So the Scouts will get an extended view of him today as he gets the start. It was, like you said, be his third start of the season. The ERA over 8, so definitely someone the Scouts can jump on early and often.
And again, Scouts coming off of 2 back-to-back one-run losses. The walk-off on the sac fly down at Bob Wren Stadium on Monday night, and yesterday when Lee Solomon was on third base and stranded as the Scouts went down. So Scouts have lost 4 games this year on walk-offs, and at this point, I think I've lost count on how many one-run games they've lost. It's just been really heartbreaking. There has been some great moments, too. Scouts 3 walk-offs themselves, but they've been on the losing end of those close games as of recently.
So Whitaker set to start off the inning, taking his couple warm-up pitches here at the Pipeyard. Terry, who's going to be starting it off for the Scouts?
Coming up for the Navy and Gray of the Xenia Scouts to start off with Lee Solomon, who's playing shortstop today. Austin Orr playing designated hitter in today's role, the lefty against the righty Whitaker, and then Christian Binger, the second baseman, in the 3 spot.
Lee Solomon set to lead it off for your Scouts. Comes into the day with a .275 average. Is 2 for 14 against these Lorain County Ironmen. Solomon getting set in the batter's box. Whitaker getting set on the rubber. First one is Solomon. This is a tad high for ball 1, start time of 7:09.
Solomon struggled a little bit yesterday. Was 1 for 4.
The 1-0. This is up high and inside. 2-0 the count to Solomon.
That's after going 0 for 5 the previous day at Southern Ohio, so he's 1 for 9 in his last 2 ball games.
Now the 2-0 to Solomon. Misses inside for a ball. 3-0 the count to Solomon.
Of course, last time the Scouts came to the Pipeyard was against Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
The 3-0. Catches the inside part of the plate for strike 1. 3-1 count to Lee Solomon.
Solomon comes into today with 10 RBIs on the year, 9 stolen bases, and 13 walks.
The 3-1. And then misses inside for a ball. Solomon thought that might have been a strike, but he'll take advantage of it and walk down to first.
So that'll be the 14th walk of the season for Lee Solomon. Here, right, Lance, I think he did think it was a strike because he stepped back in the box, realized that a walk was called, so he gladly took his stroll down to first base.
So Solomon will be at first. Austin Orr now at the plate in the designated hitter role for today. They'll check on Solomon over at first. He's back in time. Solomon tied for the lead on the team in steals with 9. Him and Miles Wright each have 9 apiece, but Solomon has been caught 4 times to Miles Wright's 2.
And they've been going back and forth recently.
First one to Orr. Catches the outside corner for a caller's strike 1. A very distinctive call from the umpire. He went across his body. Don't usually say that type of strike call.
Something we didn't see on Monday when we couldn't tell if it was a strike or call about 5 seconds afterwards.
They check on Solomon again. He's back in there in time.
Dan Whitaker has a nice pickoff move. Solomon just getting back on the slide on first base. Something we'll have to keep an eye on.
The 0-1 to Orr is going to be outside for a ball, 1-1 the count to the designated hitter from Union University.
Austin comes into today with a .261 average, 4 RBIs, 11 strikeouts on the year, and 12 walks.
The 1-1. Big swing and a miss there from Orr. He falls behind 1-2.
And after that walk to Lee, Whitaker's now up to 12 base on balls on the season.
1-2 count to Austin or Lee Solomon on first. And the 1-2. Grounds that one towards Edwards at short. He'll have to just go over to first, and he'll get over to McDonald in time for out number 1, but Solomon does advance to second.
That was a very good play by Edwards because originally off the bat, I thought he was going to try a turn 2, would not have gotten close to getting Lee Solomon out at second base. So heads-up play with a shortstop from Valparaiso.
Lee Solomon on second, 1 down here in the top of the first. Christian Binger now comes up to the plate for your Xenia Scouts. He's hitting .283 on the season.
He's now good for second best on the team.
First one to Binger. Lines that one out towards short center field, and that'll drop in for a base hit. Solomon didn't know if that was going to be caught, so he was initially going to hold up at second, but eventually gets down to third to put runners on the corners.
And you have to wonder if Lee Solomon would have tried to go home if he would have had a good jump from the get-go. Now Christian Binger hits in 10 straight games.
So Binger continues his hitting streak. He actually didn't know he had a hitting streak until you told him last night during the post-game interview.
Now Christian was yesterday's player of the game after he got a couple of singles.
Kyle Carnahan out to the plate. Runners on the corners, 1 down. Christian Carnahan's fouled backwards.
Here at the Pipeyard, it goes 330 to the sides and 400 at end center. Second to only Bob Run Stadium in park size in the league.
Dimensions here very similar to Simmons Field down in Lima. Now the 0-1. That one's in the dirt, and Solomon's going to actually come home, and he's going to be in there safely. Scouts take a 1-0 lead.
Smart play from Lee Solomon. As the first start of his Ironman career for Tyler Stevenson behind the dish. He's let it get a little bit away from the speedy Solomon. Took full advantage. Now it's a 1-0 game.
So now Binger will advance to second on the one that got away from Stevenson behind the plate. And they'll look back Binger over at second.
And Binger got to second on the pass ball as well. So another scout scoring position for Carnahan.
1-1 count to Kyle Carnahan. And the 1-1. Thought about that one, but it stayed outside. 2-1 the count to Kyle.
Infield today for the Ironman will be Brooke Clark at third. Jake Edwards at short, Sam Kohler at second, and Chris McDonald on first.
2-1 count to Kyle Carnahan, one half of the Washburn-Ichabod duo. That one's going to be outside in the dirt. Nice stop there by Stevenson to keep Binger over at second.
Quick recap, Lee Solomon will walk to start off the game. Austin Orr ground to Jeff Edwards at shortstop. And then Christian Binger singled before the pass ball brought home Solomon.
Now they're going to throw back to Binger at second. He's going to be in there just in time. A nice pickoff there from Whitaker. We saw a nice pickoff move to first base earlier. A nice move to second as well.
That was also a nice play by Jeff Edwards sneaking in behind Binger. I don't think he realized he was behind him, which caused, of course, another great pickoff move from Dan Whitaker.
And the 3-1. Lines that one down towards Edwards at short. He'll get it over to first in time for out number 2, but Binger will advance to third.
Second ground ball of the top of the first inning towards Jeff Edwards. He's put them both away. Chris McDonald imposing presence over there at first. Very tall first baseman. Hard to miss that big target.
So now the other half of the Washoe Nickabadoa David Gaunt coming up to the plate with 2 down. Scouts already on top 1-0 here over the Lorain County Ironmen. Christian Binger is over at third. Cale Giddings waits on deck.
Gaunt batting .308 on the season with 29 RBIs.
First one to Gaunt. Misses low and outside for ball 1.
Got one off the league lead of RBIs. That's what Andy Young of the Hamilton Joes with 30. Joe's not in action today. So if he were able to pass it, he would stand alone on top of the Great Lakes League.
The 1-0. Misses low and inside for ball 2. 2-0. Count to catcher David Gaunt. And the 2-0. In there for a called strike. 1-2-1 the count to Gaunt.
David Gaunt was the last batter yesterday in the bottom of the ninth for Scouts, who had a very controversial inside strike call before he grounded out to Cody Calloway at third base.
The 2-1. Grounded toward third, but it'll go foul. That'll even up the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes to Gaunt. Two and two count to David Gaunt. Christian Binger over at third. Scouts on top of 1-0. And the 2-2. Misses low and outside for ball 3. First full count of the day from Whitaker, and it was another nice stop by Stevenson to prevent Binger from scoring.
Absolutely. Stevenson from Bethany College in Bethany, West Virginia, looking pretty good in his first start for the Ironmen.
The 3-2. And Gaunt just gets a piece of that one to foul it off, stays alive at 3-2.
You're not the fastest player on the team, but does have 7 stolen bases on the season, so you have to or 6 stolen bases on the season, so you have to imagine that he'd be moving on anything like what we saw with Lee Solomon scoring on that pass ball earlier.
3-2 count to David Gaunt with 2 down here in the top of the first. And he skies that one up towards left field. They're still running back. They can't get to it. That one will fall at the wall. That will score Binger easily. Gaunt's going to round second, head for third. And he's going to be in there safely for a triple. That'll be his second triple of the season to make it a 2-0 Scouts lead.
Now David Gaunt tied for the league lead in RBIs with number 30 on the year.
Number 10, first baseman.
So Scouts quickly jump up to a 2-0 lead here in the top of the first against Lorain County Ironmen. Gaunt over at third after his RBI triple. Cale Giddings now up to the plate for the Scouts. First one to Cale. Fouls that one back towards the on-deck circle for the Scouts for strike 1.
Cale sure went 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. Seems like everyone on the Scouts walked yesterday, as there's 11 total on the day.
0-1 count to Cale Giddings, first baseman from Lake Erie College. The 0-1. Fouls that one back again. Quickly falls behind 0-2.
So in this at-bat, Whitaker doing what we haven't seen a lot of the top of the first inning, getting ahead of the batter in Cale Giddings. Cale with 2 RBIs on the year. He's a late addition to the team. Love to get number 3 with David Gaunt on third.
And the 0-2. He pops that one up high in the infield. Clark's going to range over to it in foul territory for the final out of the inning, but not before the Scouts strike first in the top half of the first. They go up by a score of 2-0 over the Ironmen.
You have to remember, this is where the Scouts suffered their biggest defeat of the season against Lorain County Ironmen. That was a 12-3 drumming. Already got 2 runs on the board. That's going to give some cushion to Scouts pitcher Dylan Donnelly.
Dylan Donnelly will get the start for the Scouts. This will be his 8th appearance, seventh start on the season. Has a 1-run record. Has 35 and 1/3 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts to 22 walks, a 3.82 ERA. And he comes from Pittsburgh State, and that's not the one in Pennsylvania.
Now he goes in Kansas. He's a member of Gorilla Nation, the only team of gorillas as their mascot in the country. Going to yesterday, Donnelly and Ironman pitcher and starter yesterday, Patrick Higley, were tied in the league for walks, but Higley had 8 on the mound in yesterday's victory against the Scouts, so Donnelly firmly in second now. And coming up for the side for the Lorain County Ironmen, we'll start off with the shortstop and the league leader in batting average, Jeff Edwards, the Crusader from Valparaiso. He has 13 RBIs on the season. And second base will be Sam Kohler. He had a nice game yesterday, went 2 for 4. He's batting .353 on the year. He's one of many Rams from Angelo State on the team. And in the 3 spot will be the second player in this starting 9 batting over 400, Tyler Byers, the Cobra from Coker College in South Carolina. He's a designated hitter, batting .407. Yesterday we saw Byers behind the plate. Today Tyler Stevenson getting that start.
And Byers very similar to David Gaunt of the Scouts, and in the fact that he's getting the spot at DH, and that's because he has one of the highest averages on the team with .407, so they're going to find a way to keep his bat in the lineup just like the Scouts do with Gaunt.
Second highest on the team, second highest in the league as Ironmen go 1-2 with Edwards, then Byers.
First one to Edwards inside for ball 1. Edwards 6 for 14 against the Scouts, had just 1 hit yesterday. Next one misses up and inside for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Edwards.
Byers also struck out a couple of times in yesterday's contest.
The 2-0. In there for a called strike. 1-2-1 the count to shortstop Jeff Edwards. And the 2-1. Hits that one down towards right field, but that one will get out of play, and it'll even it up at 2-2. And the 2-2. Just gets a little piece of that one to stay alive at 2-2. Edwards comes into the day hitting .412 on the season, 10 walks and 13 RBIs. Edwards going to ground that one to Cale Giddings over at first, and Cale's going to take that one himself for out number 1.
We saw some wheels from the big man, Cale Giddings. Originally, I think Cale thought he was going to be throwing it to Dylan Donnelly, but it was a foot race between the speedy Jeff Edwards and Dylan Donnelly, so Cale realized, oh, I better take this one myself to free up any doubt.
So that'll bring up Sam Kohler, second baseman from Angelo State University. First one to Kohler. Catches the outside corner for a called strike 1. The 0-1. Fouls that one back and just out of play into the stands in front of us and off to our right.
So Dylan Donnelly very aggressive early on in this first inning.
And the 0-2. Just hit past a diving Cale Giddings over at first. That one will just barely stay in play for a fair ball, and Kohler's going to be on with a single.
Gotta give the effort A+ to Cale as he went full extension on that one. The big man caught some air, but just couldn't get the tip of his leather on the ball.
So to bring up Tyler Byers, the DH from Coker College, hitting .407 on the season. Coker over on first does have 1 stolen base, so a chance he could be on the move. First one to Byers. Just misses low for ball 1.
Byers was 1 for 4 yesterday with a walk and a single, so not his typical performance.
Donnelly will check on Kohler over at first. He's in there safely. And Donnelly usually regarded as having one of, if not the best, pickoff move on the team. The 1-0. Just misses low and away for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Byers.
Kohler relatively new to this Ironman team. This is only his 11th game with the white.
And the 2-0. In there for a called strike 1. 2-1 the count. And 2-1. This is outside. David's going to check on him over at first himself, but he's back in time. Nice throw there from Gaunt behind the dish.
That's something we've seen from David Gaunt time and time again, that pickoff throw from his knees, trying to catch the runners on first base off guard. Almost did so with Kohler there. Also good tag applied by Kale.
3-1. Lines that one out of play, way out towards right field. That'll make it a full count. First one we've seen from Dylan Donnelly.
And good at bat here from Byers.
Full count to Tyler Byers. Sam Kohler on first. And Byers is going to go down swinging, and that'll be Donnelly's first strikeout of the day.
Risky pitch by Donnelly as it was outside the zone high, but Byers couldn't hold off the high heat, so Kohler will stand there on first now, 2 outs.
Brings up Chris McDonald, the first baseman, also a pitcher from Hillsdale College. First one to McDonald. This is low and outside for ball 1. Chris McDonald, of course, a college teammate with 2 Scouts players, Will Cruz and Joe Tation, each also go to Hillsdale College. So 3 Hillsdale pitchers out here today. And they check on Kohler back at first. He's in there in time.
Chris McDonald impressive on first base with a 3.22 average, but even more impressive, a 2.04 ERA and 36 strikeouts, good for 3rd in the league.
The 1-0. In there for a called strike 1 to Chris McDonald. Evens it up at 1-1. Now the 1-1. Catches outside corner. 1-2. Now they count to Chris McDonald. One, two count to Chris McDonald. Sam Kohler over on first. Kohler's on the move on the breaking pitch. And he's gunned down by David Gaunt behind the plate. That'll save the at-bat for Chris McDonald. And now he will lead off the second inning as Kohler's caught stealing over at second.
And it was just an absolutely perfectly placed throw from David Gaunt and a great tag applied by second baseman Christian Binger. He put his glove down right into the sliding hand of Sam Kohler. So unconventionally, the Scouts go 1-2-3.
So after 1 inning of play, the Scouts on top of a Lorain County Ironmen by a score of 2-0 here at the Pipeyard in Lorain County. We thank you for making us a part of your day. Lance Morris alongside my broadcast partner Terry Lash as we bring you coverage of every single Xenia Scouts baseball game from now until the end of the regular season, and then we'll also have postseason coverage. We'll know more about the postseason sometime next week. There's a slight possibility that the season could be extended by a couple of days because of all the rain that Ohio has been facing this entire summer.
And a lot of teams have not been in action, but we finally do see some action around the Great Lakes Leagues tonight. We already saw a few contests. We have multiple doubleheaders, a couple of 7-inning games. The Galleon Graders beat the Northern Ohio Baseball Club by a 7-5 score. The Lima Locos has extended their lead atop the Great Lakes League with a 2-1 victory over the Southern Ohio Copperheads in Bob Wren Stadium. And both those 2 teams are in the second game of their doubleheaders. The Northern Ohio Baseball Club leads 1-0 over the Graders on the top of the first of that one. Locos and Copperheads are still scoreless. And Cincinnati Steam are being the Licking County Settlers 1-0, trying to sweep the Settlers in the last 2 games. And the Lake Erie Monarchs and Grand Lake Mariners are tied at Goose Eggs in the second.
We've got Gilcrease to lead it off in the top of the second for the Scouts. First one is up for ball 1.
Gilcrease comes to today with a .216 average, 14 RBIs, 13 walks, and 37 strikeouts.
The 1-0. Lined out towards center field. That one's going to get down for a base hit. Levi's going to round first, head for second, and he's going to be in there easily at second with a leadoff stand-up double.
Levi Gilcrease has been batting so much better as of late. He's been getting not only more hits, but making more out of each and every at-bat. We've seen less strikeouts as of recently, and that time on the second pitch swing, put a great charge into the ball.
Brings Wyatt Hogan up to the plate. Gilcrease over on second after his leadoff double. First one to Wyatt. Inside for ball one.
Wyatt comes today with a 134 average, 12 walks, 7 RBIs.
Wyatt 1 for 6 against these Lorain County Ironmen. The 1-0. Grounds that one back up the middle. It'll be fielded by Kohler over at second. And that's going to get past McDonald at first. Hogan's going to be safe, and Levi's going to come around to score.
That's going to put the Scouts up by a 3-0 lead. That run will not be earned to Whitaker because of the error on Kohler, and that will put Wyatt Hogan on first base.
So I have to think that one goes down as an E4 on Kohler, as McDonald had no chance of scooping that one up over at first.
But Wyatt Hogan will be credited with an RBI.
Miles right now up to the plate. First one to him. Low for ball one. Miles comes into the day hitting .250, is 1 for 10 against Lorain County this season. And the 1-0. Thought about that one, but held up, and now it's 2-0 count to Miles, right?
Miles went 0 for 2 yesterday, but did draw a couple of walks, including one in the bottom of the 9th inning to start things off. Did come around a score to put things at 3-2, but the Scouts couldn't put any more runs on the board and would fall at Grady's Field.
2-0 count to Miles, right? Scouts on top, 3-0. Next one's in there for a called strike one to Miles, 2-1 the count.
And how Miles took that one, I think he was just waiting for a strike to come across the plate before he put his first swing on.
2-1 count to Miles, right? Wyatt Hogan over at first. Now 2-1. Grounds that one towards Clark at third. They're going over to second for 1. And Miles is just out over at first for now the second out of the inning.
So 5-4-3 double play ends it, but Scouts do put 1 run on the board. Excuse me.
It's only 2 outs.
Jumped the gun. Absolutely jumped the gun on that one. 2 outs with a 3-0 lead. My apologies.
Now Lee Solomon will come up to the plate with 2 down here in the top of the second inning. Scouts on top by a 3-0 score. First one to Solomon. Swinging a miss on the pitch that was just outside the zone.
Yeah, a nice curve. Started inside, moved outside from Whitaker.
1-1 count to the shortstop from Lipscomb. Now the 0-1 pitch. Pops that one out towards right field. And that one gets down. It's bobbled out there by Nita, who came in to charge on that one. And Solomon's going to be safe at first.
That's got to be E9, I would assume, as it hit the glove.
So we'll go with E9 unless someone else tells us otherwise. But that's the play you're supposed to make if you're an outfielder. You're supposed to charge in on that one. You're taught as an outfielder to charge in and call off your infielders, but the hitter just wasn't able to corral that.
And Kohler was very aggressive with that one. We almost saw a collision, which probably caused the drop.
Austin Nora up to the plate. First one to him. It's low. Solomon's going to be on the move, and he's going to be safe over at second for his 10th steal on the season.
First count of double digits as Miles and Lee Solomon going back and forth for tops on the team in steals. Lee Solomon edges ahead in the race.
And his host family's not going to be happy. They're going to have to clean up that jersey after that head-first slide.
Yeah, it's got a lot of dirt on it.
The 1-0 to Orr. In there for a called strike one. 1-1 the count to Orr.
Also ground out to Jeff Edwards at short last time.
Solomon fakes the steal in the 1-1. Way outside, probably another pitch out to see what Lee Solomon was doing over at second.
And that one was officially ruled an E9, so 2 errors in this inning for the Ironmen.
2-1 count to Austin Orr. And the 2-1. Lines that one back and out of play. It'll even it up at 2-2 to the shortstop from Union. Haven't seen Austin in the field in quite a while, dealing with a shoulder injury. Slowly back to throwing. Saw him throwing overhand a little bit today, but wasn't throwing at 100% quite yet.
We only saw him with 1 at bat yesterday, so he came in to pinch hit.
And the 2-2. Solomon fakes the steal again, and that one's going to be lined down towards Coleridge second. He makes a nice stop on it, but Orr is going to be safe at first, and Solomon is going to come around to score. Nice heads-up base running. Scouts up 4-0.
And I thought Lee Solomon was going to be out by a mile. I don't know what happened there with Tyler Stevenson. It was kind of a low throw by Kohler, but just, I guess, unable to corral it because he was unable to even attempt to put the tag on Solomon, who made a great slide going completely around the catcher for the Scouts up 4-0.
So Austin Orr now over on first after the infield single. They'll throw it back over to him at first and check on him. He's in there safely. Orr does have 1 steal, but has been caught twice on the season. Christian Binger now at the plate. First one to bang. Catches the outside corner for a called strike 1.
And that run will also not be earned to Whitaker as Solomon got on with that E9.
They'll throw back at Orr again at first. He's in there safely. The 0-1 to Binger. Up and outside for ball 1-1 count to Christian Binger.
So you mentioned Christian, 283 now. Start of the year so slowly, so it's just unbelievable how much he's had a rise, a meteoric rise.
They throw back to Orr again. He's in there in time. Still has a little bit of wiggle room over there first.
And that was very impressive. Christian Binger batted over 370 this year at Southwest Baptist, so not surprising.
The 1-1. Just a tad outside for ball 2. Makes it a 2-1 count to Christian Binger.
Binger's strike zone is very small, and he's a very patient batter, so that combination makes him very hard to strike out.
They throw back at Austin Orr again at first. He's in there in plenty of time.
Also makes him a great walk candidate, which he has done this year to the tune of 26 times, which leads the league.
The 2-1. Orr fakes the steal. It'll be outside. They look him back over at first. And like we mentioned, Orr not the fastest guy on the team, just a solid athlete, and he's really got them thinking over there at first.
Austin has 1 steal in the year and has been caught twice.
3-1. Orr is on the move this time, and he'll be in there safely for a steal. Second of the year.
So now he's evened it up. 500 in steal attempts. Stolen twice and been caught twice.
So now it's a 3-2 count to Binger as he took that one as Orr was on the move. And the 3-2. Binger will ground that one towards Kohler at second. And he'll get that one over to McDonald in time for the final out of the inning, but not before the Scouts take advantage of a couple Ironmen errors. And they score 2 that inning. They jump out to a 4-0 lead after the top half of the second.
Have already scored more runs in the first 2 innings than they did in the entire game last time the 2 teams played here at the Pipeyard. These guys have left 2 runners on in scoring position in the first 2 innings, though. But with 4 runs on the board, I don't think Coach Case is going to be too worried about that, as Dylan Donnelly is going back on the mound for a second inning of action. We haven't seen Donnelly since 5 days ago against the Southern Ohio Copperheads. When he started that one, went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs. Both of those in the first inning when he struggled with walks mightily. Finished the day with 7 walks. Something we mentioned with Donnelly, it seems like he gets better throughout the game. He gets stronger and stronger and stronger on the mound. Had a great start to this one, so that could spell trouble for the Ironmen.
And you said his last outing was against the Copperheads. That was last Friday. That feels so long ago just because we've played every single day this week already. That was less than a week ago. It feels like it could have been a couple weeks ago up to this point.
And it's only getting longer as the Scouts are traveling to Salina, Ohio the next 2 days against the Grand Lake Mariners. The first time around against the Grand Lake, their field couldn't handle the rain, as most fields here in the state of Ohio, so both games were played in a doubleheader at Grady's Field, so the Scouts will travel 2 more games after today in this 3-game road stretch. Both of those will be 7:05 starts.
First one to Chris McDonald. Catches the outside corner for a called strike one. McDonald was at the plate last inning, but Sam Kohler was caught stealing, so fresh at bat for McDonald. One misses just a tad high. 1-1 the count.
McDonald had already worked it to a 2-2 count, so he's been faced a number of pitches from Donnelly.
The 1-1. Just got a piece of that one and makes the catch. It's a 1-2 count now on the foul tip.
Movement on the ball from Dylan Donnelly, who tops out around 85.
It's swinging and a miss. McDonald is going to go down on strike. Second strikeout of the game for Dylan.
Now Donnelly has struck out the last 2 batters' face as he struck out Tyler Byers, which was seemingly forever ago. His last out before that strikeout was a caught stealing on Sam Kohler.
First pitch to Cole Nito. He's going to line that one right back to Cale Giddings for out number 2. Doesn't get much easier than that.
Not at all, as Cale barely even had a move to put that one away. The liner screamed right at his navy blue jersey.
Zach Zybert now will come up to the plate for the Ironmen with quickly 2 down here in the bottom of the second. Scouts on top 4-0. First one is Zybert. This is up and away for ball 1.
Donnelly has gone 7 innings strong twice this year, once in a win, once in a loss for his 1-1 record.
Time will be called at the plate.
Scouts really low on arms in the bullpen. Would love to get a big day from their starter.
That one inside for a called strike 1-1 count to Zach Zybert from Lee University.
One of 2 Flames from Lee University on the team.
That one's going to be fouled out of play. Makes it a 1-2 count to Zach Zybert, the left fielder.
He went 0 for 3 yesterday, but did have a sac fly RBI.
1-2 count to Zybert. 2 down, bottom of the second, the 1-2. Just going to miss outside. Evens it up at 2-2.
Doing a closer this past season at Pittsburgh State, so had adjusted here to a starting role.
And the 2-2. Now it's going to be lined out towards right field. Miles Wright dove for it, but wasn't able to quite corral it. That one will drop for a base hit.
It was a risky dive by Miles, but what a play once he went all out on the ground, was able to swat the ball that already bounced. If it bounces past him, that's a double at least, most likely a triple. So Miles Wright maybe dove a little premature there, but made a great play to make it only a single.
Bert Clark now will come up to the plate for the Ironmen. First one is in the dirt. Nice stop from Gaunt to keep Zybert over at first.
Clark, the Cavalier from Walsh University in Cleveland, has 5 RBIs.
Walsh is in Canton.
Excuse me, in Canton, not Cleveland.
The 1-0. Misses up high for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Clark. Clark didn't play yesterday. Is 2 for 8, though, from the first 2 games against the Scouts and the Ironmen. The 2-0. Just fouls that one back. 2-1 count. Clark with just a 175 average. 8 walks with 5 RBIs. The 2-1. Fouls one back off of one of the poles over here behind home plate. 2-2 count.
Fouled off a pipe here at the Pipeyard. And you have to wonder if Cody Calloway's kind of underwhelming performance yesterday is the reason why he was taken off of third base for Brooke Clark at the plate.
The 2-2. This is up high. Gaunt's going to check on him at first. He's back in there in time. Another nice pickoff attempt from Gaunt behind the dish.
It'll definitely keep you honest on first base. There's not a second where you can let your guard down if you're a runner against David Gaunt.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Brooke Clark at the plate. And the 3-2. Got him looking. Strike 3. Third strikeout of the game for Donnelly will end this bottom of the second.
That was the first one of the caught looking variety. That's the first runner left stranded by the Ironman. And his last start, Donnelly struck out a season-high 6 through 5 innings. He's halfway to the total here after 2.
So after 2 full innings of play, Scouts up 4-0 over the Lorain County Ironmen here at the Pipeyard. And you think back to the last time these two teams played right here in Lorain County, the Scouts only scored 3 runs in 9 innings of play.
And there's only 1 RBI in that game, I believe, and that was off of the bat of Wyatt Hogan, who had an RBI double, one of his 3 doubles on the season. It was definitely one of the worst performances we've seen from the Scouts all year long. I remember you and I were talking about the game afterwards, and we didn't really have a lot to say positive-wise about the Scouts after that performance, but today at the Pipeyard, it's been all navy and blue after 2 innings. The Scouts did play here again when they won both games with a doubleheader against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
So, ironically enough, the Scouts are 2-1 here at these facilities, but haven't beaten the Lorain County Ironmen here yet.
And that was due to the fact that Mills Field in Strongsville, Ohio, not too far from here, about a 30-minute drive, was flooded. We had to think of a way to play the game, and we decided to move it to Lorain County. Once again, it's been a very wet summer here in Ohio and has caused a lot of havoc in the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League. A couple of score updates from around the league. In game number 2 between Locust and Copperheads, Locust up 3-0 early on, and the Settlers and Steam are tied at 1 in the 3rd.
Kyle Carnahan will lead off this top of the 3rd for the Scouts. They lead the Ironmen 4-3, or 4-0 in the 3rd inning. Mixing up my numbers on the scoreboard. Carnahan shows bunt, pulls it back for ball 1.
If you tell, Brooke Clark was playing way off of third base on that one. Now look at him, he's about even with the bag, even moving in front of it.
The 1-0. Carnahan pops that one up high in the air, got too far under that one. And that one's going to drop into play. Miscommunication there, and Carnahan's going to have the weirdest double of his career.
And now 3 errors for the Ironman. He said it right, Lance.
I think that one would be an unforced error because I don't think that hit off anyone's glove.
It didn't have to hit off the left fielder's glove?
It might have. I don't think it did.
I'll take a check.
We'll see what they score.
Streak and see how it's scored. Again, miscommunication we saw between second and right before. Now from short and left. Ironman definitely having their struggles in the field today.
David Gaunt will now be up to the plate. First one to Gaunt. He shows bunt, lays it down, but it'll go foul for strike 1.
A good job by Kyle Carnahan, not just walking back to the dugout, running all the way to second. Because you don't know what happened there. And it will be ruled an error. But they haven't marked it on who. I believe it was on Zach Zybert.
Yeah, they ruled it on Zybert. I initially thought it didn't get his glove. It must have just barely grazed off that glove out and left. Time will be called behind the plate. Whitaker was taking too long on the mound. Now the 0-1 to Gaunt. He's going to pop that one out towards center. That one's going to drop in for a base hit in front of Reed out in center. And Scouts will now have runners on the corners with nobody down.
Gaunt came in today with a 308 average, which has plummeted since he was batting over 380 a couple of weeks ago. Today, bringing it back in a big way, 2 for 2 with an RBI triple to start this game, and now a single that puts Carnahan on third.
Runners at the corners, nobody down. Top of the third inning, Scouts on top 4-0 over the Ironmen. Cale Giddings will now come to the plate for his second time today. First one to Cale. This is low for ball one.
3 Ironman errors have really cost the white and black in this ball game so far.
The 1-0. And that one's popped out towards left. Zaibert's going to get under that for the out. They're going to send home Kyle Carnahan. He's going to be in there easily, so sac fly for Cale Giddings. Put the Scouts up 5-0.
Cale Giddings does his job, gets under it. To deep left field, not even a chance for a play from Zach Zaibert to extend that lead of 5-0. It's been all Xenia so far.
So that'll bring up Levi Gilcrease. David Gahn will still be over at first here. One down, top of the third, Scouts up 5-0.
And that run also not accredited to Dan Winokur. 5 runs, only 2 of them have been earned due to the 3 errors.
First one to Gilcrease. This is low and outside for ball one. Nice stop there from Stevenson to keep going at first.
Yeah, it seems like we're a broken record at this point. First game of the year for the new catcher, Tyler Stevenson. And he's done a great job behind the plate, blocking balls from hitting a pretty deep backstop here at the Pipeyard.
And time is called before the pitch, right before the pitch.
Now, Whitaker didn't take anything off of that one as we saw the dirt on the glove of Stevenson just fly out on the high fastball.
The 1-0. That one's in there for a called strike one. 1-1 to Gilcrease. Levi, the center fielder from Baylor University, hitting .216 coming into today. The 1-1. Misses outside again. 2-1 the count.
Now Levi will put his hands in the dirt, try to strengthen his grip on the bat a little bit, something we see from Levi at the plate time and time again.
2-1 count to Gilcrease. Gone on first. The 2-1. And that one's going to get away from Stevenson. Gaunt was already on the move. He's going to round second, head for third. He's going to be in there safely, so I would think that's a steal of second because he was already on the move and then advances on the passed ball.
I will let you know how it is scored, but I'm talking about heads-up base running from David Gahn, recognizing the ball still going to the deep backstop here at the Pipeyard, and might as well take 2 bases instead of 1.
3-1 count to Gilcrease. Gaunt now on third with 1 down. And the 3-1. Misses up high, and Levi's going to walk down to first base to put runners on the corners for Wyatt Hogan.
His 14th walk of the season. And Gilcrease with a lot of speed. You have to wonder if he's going to try to steal second base. Maybe bring home David Gaunt on the throw.
So runners on the corners for Wyatt Hogan. The first baseman turned more or less left fielder here for the Scouts from Hendrix College. First one to Hogan. Gilcrease is on the move. He'll get to second base easily.
Another steal for the speedster, Levi Gilcrease. That one's so far inside. Not even a play to be made by Tyler Stevenson. Put both runners in scoring position now.
1-0 count to Wyatt Hogan. Runners on second and third. Hogan's going to ground that one towards third base, but that one will drift foul. Evens it up at 1-1.
I believe that's just going to be ruled a wild pitch. They got David gone to third and are not going to give him any steals.
Still runners on second and third, and Gilcrease over at second, gone at third for Wyatt Hogan. Scouts on top 5-0 here in the top of the third inning against the Lorain County Ironmen. Now the 1-1. That one's going to be fouled back towards us. That'll make it a 1-2 count to Hogan.
Hogan with 8 RBIs in the year now after having one back in the top of the second inning. A fourth of his RBIs on the season against the Ironmen here at the Pipeyard.
And the 1-2. Hogan's going to foul that one out of play. He'll stay alive at 1-2.
We saw a sac fly RBI earlier of Cale Giddings. Wyatt Hogan would love to replicate that and make it 6-0.
1-2 count to Wyatt Hogan. One down here in the top of the third. And the 1-2. And that one's going to be lined towards left field for a base hit. Gaunt's going to score easily, and Gilcrease is going to be right behind him. And he's safe at the plate. Very close play, but Gilcrease will come around to score. That'll add 2 more runs to the Scouts' total. 7-0 lead.
Levi Gilcrease, a very confident base runner, did not hesitate for a second rounding third, because if he did, he would have been tagged out by Stevenson. Now Wyatt Hogan with 3 RBIs afternoon. He has 10 on the year, and I just lifted up. He also had an RBI when we played the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. So this is the third game that Wyatt has played at the Pipeyard, and now has 5 of his 10 RBIs on the season here. Just something about the Pipeyard Wyatt Hogan absolutely loves.
I think he also had an RBI here against the Ironmen in that game here.
Yeah, he did. He had an RBI double, and our RBI against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club, and now 3 today for 5 on the year.
So Miles Wright will now be up to the plate, and there's still no action out in the Ironmen bullpen. I find that a little surprising.
I'd agree with that.
Miles Wright now up to the plate. Hogan over on first after his 2 RBI single. First one to Miles. Misses inside for ball 1.
I mean, the second hit of the inning, that single from Hogan, but 3 runs have come across.
Still just 1 out here in the top of the third. Scouts on top 7-0. They'll check on Hogan over at first. He's back in there in time.
Last time, both Wright and Hogan got out on the 5-4-3 double play that Miles Wright hit into.
One 0 count to Miles Wright. 1-0 pitch. Misses inside for the second straight pitch. 2-0 the count.
Former Indian Joe Charbonneau, the head coach of the Lorain County Ironmen. And just like Land City, I have to wonder how long it takes Charbonneau to throw someone out there in the Ironman bullpen.
The 2-0. Misses up high for another ball. 3-0 the count to Miles Wright, and it's going to be red light all the way here on this 3-0 pitch.
Yeah, definitely will be taken. Try to get runners on first and second.
3-0 count to Miles Wright. Outfielder from St. Edwards and Austin. That one's going to be in there for a called strike. 1-3-1 the count.
Let's see if he has the hold sign again here, 3-1.
3-1 count to Miles Wright. And a 3-1. Now it's going to be hit right to Edwards over at short. He just barely was able to reach up and grab that one for the second out of the inning.
That's super impressive because Jeff Edwards only stands at 5 feet 5 inches tall. Looks like he has pogo sticks stuck under his cleats to get up that high. Kind of reminds me of some of the plays we've seen from Lee Solomon this year, but has about 4 less inches than Lee, so incredibly impressive from the Crusader from Valparaiso, Jeff Edwards.
Lee Solomon now up to the plate with 2 down here in the top of the third. First one to Solomon. Shows butt, pulls it back for ball 1.
I have a 10 o'clock deadline. So I'm just like,
Now the 1-0. Misses low and inside for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Solomon, and Whitaker might have gotten that last out on Miles right, but he's definitely struggling up there on the mound. And the 2-0. This is outside once again. Solomon shows bunt, but still going to be ball 3.
That was a well-hit ball by Miles Wright. It's an unbelievable play by Jeff Edwards. You just have to give it to the shortstop if you're Miles Wright. Just a little head nod.
The 3-0. Misses up and inside, and they're going to walk Lee Solomon on 4 straight pitches as the second walk of the day.
He's been up each and every inning. Has gone on base each time.
So that'll bring up Austin Orr. Scouts will have runners on first and second with 2 down. Top of the 3rd inning. They're on top of the Ironmen 7-0. First one to Orr. Big swing and a miss.
Again, after the second walk of the day, or excuse me, third walk of the day, we don't see activity in the Ironman bullpen.
The 0-1. Just missing on that one. That'll be ball 1-1-1 the count to Orr. That was a very good pitch, though.
Yeah, it didn't miss by much, that's for sure.
The 1-1. Orr gets a piece of that one. It'll just go foul down that third base line. 1-2 the count.
Christian Binger on deck. If he gets up, the Scouts will have batted around here in the top of the 3rd in the 7-0 lead.
And the 1-2. Misses up high for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Austin Orr.
Austin 1 for 2. He did have the RBI single last inning. That brought home Lee Solomon, who stands on first right now.
The 2-2. Misses way outside. 3-2 the count.
So good work from the lefty. There's that designated hitter, Austin Orr, the Union Bulldog, working all the way back to a full count.
3-2 count to Austin Orr. Runners on first and second with 2 down here in the top of the 3rd. The 3-2. That one's going to be hit out towards left field, but that one will be caught by Zyber to end the inning. But nonetheless, the Scouts add on to their lead some more. They get 3 that inning. They take, and they actually got, they got 3?
Yeah, they got 3. That's not bad.
I was about to say, Terry, I know we're messing up on math sometimes, but Scouts up 7-0 because they got 2 in each of the first 2, so I thought 4, they can't have 4, Terry, it's 3.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking it was 8-0. That was not bad.
So a 7-run cushion for Dylan Donnelly on the mound. He's had a lot of time to breathe in between innings as the Scouts have put at least 2 runs up in each of the first 3 innings today.
And something that Dylan Donnelly isn't really used to, having this much run support. Not many Scouts pitchers are used to it. Through 3 innings, 7 runs. Hitting has been a struggle for the year on the Scouts, one of the worst in the league in batting average and most hitting statistics outside of David Gahn and Kyle Carnahan. So it's really a great day at the plate for the Scouts, and you have to think Dylan Donnelly has a big smile across his face here entering the bottom of the 3rd.
And that's probably something in the back of every single pitcher's mind is, how much run support am I going to get today? Well, we've only been through 2.5 innings here as we're getting except for the bottom of the 3rd, but he's already got plenty of run support. First one to Tyler Stevenson. In there for a called strike 1. This is Stevenson's first game with the club, and so we will get our first glimpse of him, as will the Lorain County Ironmen. Second one's in there for a called strike 2, so Stevenson quickly down 0-2.
After Stevenson will be Zach Reed, the center fielder.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss. He'll go down on 3 straight pitches. That'll be Donnelly's 4th strikeout of the game.
2 away from his single game high this season.
Center fielder, Zach Reed.
Zach Reed now will come to the plate for the Ironmen. He's their number 9 hitter.
Jeff Edwards on deck now.
First one to Reed, a big swing and a miss, and Donnelly's going right after these hitters. He's got all the confidence in the world.
And has been aggressive all game long from the get-go.
The 0-1. Big swing and a miss again as Reed falls behind 0-2.
I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like there's more velocity on the fastball today from Donnelly as well.
And the 0-2. Misses outside, 1-2 the count, and I know something Dylan has been talking about. He said during the season he'd sometimes get up to the 90s, but he's been working with Dewey Doval, and he's added a little more velocity. 1-2 will get out of play, and Dewey, of course, one of our assistants up in the press box. He has finished his playing career, but before that could top out at 96 miles an hour with his fastball.
Went to the Masters College.
1-2 is going to be fouled back as well, so we'll do it again at 1-2. Dylan said during the season he was getting into the high 90s, feeling good because he could throw as hard as he wanted to because he was a closer, could just go out there and let it all out. And the 1-2. Big swing and a miss again. Second straight strikeout, 5th of the game for Dylan Donnelly.
And third straight strikeout if we go to the end of the second inning. And Dylan Donnelly has just been an absolute groove. Like Lance mentioned, 5 already. We're not even through the third inning here. 6 is his game high in this season.
So he's just faced 9 batters. This will be the second time around for Jeff Edwards, already with 5 strikeouts. Has struck out more than half of the Ironmen lineup already. First one to Edwards, misses up high for ball 1.
Edwards grounded out to Gale Giddings his first time up.
The 1-0. Then we lined back up the middle. Lee Solomon just quite couldn't stop that. That'll get into center field for a base hit for Jeff Edwards.
Dylan Donnelly almost made a nice stop, try to backhand it behind him without really looking as the grounder was hit right at the pitcher's mound, but you expect that out of Jeff Edwards. Came in today batting .412.
And there's something that I noticed out there during BP. There's a little bit like of a lip out there in short center field, so if it gets into that grass, it's going to pop up just into play.
Something we saw at Lake Erie against the Monarchs.
Kohler's going to line that one out towards the right field, and Miles Wright's going to go under that one for the final out of the inning. So Edwards gets on with a 2-out single, but on the next pitch, Kohler flies out to Miles Wright to end the third inning.
Something important, Dylan Donnelly not getting his pitch count very high and facing a very limited amount of batters through 3 innings. Of course, Coach Case wants him to go very deep. Would love to get his third 7-inning appearance of the year as Lance begins to lip sync a little Smash Mouth here at the Pipeyard.
I'm a very big fan of Smash Mouth. They were one of my favorite bands back in the day.
Some 90s throwbacks here at the Pipeyard. And we have a pretty decently sized crowd here. Something we haven't seen as much at the Pipeyard this year, so it's nice to see fans coming up and enjoying the game. We've actually heard some of the Pipeyard players being heckled so far, which is something we haven't seen a lot of in the Great Lakes League, but we've seen it here in Lorain County. We finally do see some activity in the Lorain County bullpen. Try to figure out who's throwing over there.
And that's going to be all you because I am very obstructed by the poles over here in my position. And Whitaker is going to be back out there again. This will be his 4th inning of action. He's already given up 7 runs, not all of them earned, though.
I believe that'd be J.T. Perez warming out there, the freshman from Warville, Ohio, that goes to the University of Cincinnati, who has played against the Scouts before.
Yeah, he went, I think, 8 innings strong in that game where the Ironmen dominated right here. So that would not be the person that the Scouts want to see.
Now, he did go 8 innings in that 12-3 victory, the biggest loss of the year for the Scouts.
First one to Christian Binger, in there for a called strike 1. The 0-1. Now it's going to be lined down towards left field, but that'll jump out of play. Binger falls behind 0-2.
Earlier today, Christian Binger extended his hit streak to 10 games. That was on his first at bat where he singled.
The 0-2. Pops that one out. That'll just fall into left field, and Zybert's going to call everyone off and get to that one for the first out of the inning. He's doing what he really couldn't do earlier on in the game, wasn't calling people off back as far as last inning.
Yeah, Zyber had an error earlier. That's something that we saw, and we saw a kind of a sarcastic cheer from the crowd here as we've seen 2 errors in the outfield with miscommunication between the outfield and the infield. That time exactly the same spot. Zyber calls off Edwards.
Kyle Carnahan out to the plate. First one to him, catches the outside corner for a called strike 1. And the 0-1. Big hack and a miss there from Carnahan as he falls behind 0-2.
That's a good throw from Whitaker. Definitely took a lot off of the baseball on that strike.
And the 0-2. That one's going to be hit out towards left field. That one will drop in front of Zybert for a base hit. And Carnahan gets on for the first time today with a hit. Did reach his last at-bat on an error.
Carnahan has been very good recently. Did score last inning after that error. And now officially in the hit book.
So that brings up David Gaunt. 2 for 2 today with a single and a triple.
I believe that's now 7 hits on the day given up by Whitaker.
They're going to check on Carnahan over at first. He's in there in time. Carnahan, not the fastest guy on the team, but does have 4 steals and hasn't been caught yet. First one to Gaunt. Misses low for ball 1. Carnahan over at first after his single. The 1-0. Swing and a miss there from Gaunt. Evens it up at 1-1. Gaunt came into the day hitting .308. Had 7 home runs and extended his RBI total to now 30. The 1-1. This is up and inside. 2-1 the count.
So Gaunt tied with Andy Young of the Hamilton Joes. And both home runs and RBIs in tops of the league.
2-1. Misses that one just a little bit. 3-1 the count now to Gaunt.
And I hate to be a party pooper, but Andy Young with a lot less games played than David Gaunt, so we have to see how long those records hold.
No one likes a party pooper.
I'm
The 3-1, and that one's going to actually plunk Gaunt. He's going to walk to first, and if I remember correctly, I think that's his 4th time being hit by a pitch, if not 5th.
And that one hit him hard on the shoulder, an absolute plunk, and that would be his 5th hit by a pitch on the year. Only trails his Ichabod teammate Kyle Carnahan, who's on second right now. 15 hits by pitches between the 2 Washburn attendees.
For the non-math majors, that means Kyle's been hit 10 times. 10, that's a lot of times.
It is a lot of times.
Joe Giddings now up to the plate. And time is called, and it's a good thing time was called because that would have hit the opposite edge of the batter's box out where the lefties would stand to hit.
Well, I'm going to give Dan Whitaker the benefit of the doubt and say that the time being called is the reason why that pitch was so awry. But I don't know. That one just didn't seem like it was very close from the get-go.
First one to Kale. This is inside for ball 1.
Kale 0 for 1 today. Had a sac fly RBI last time. That scored Kyle Carnahan's on second right now.
Ichabod's on the base pass with Carnahan and Gaunt. That one's going to be grounded towards Edwards at short. He's going to try and get it over to third, but it's going to be mishandled by Clark, so everybody's going to be safe on the fielder's choice.
That was a heads-up play by Jeff Edwards because that was a force out. I don't know if Kyle Carnahan realized. I think he would have been sliding in that situation normally instead of running stand-up, but Clark just couldn't handle it.
Center fielder Levi.
Throw wasn't perfect either, so that might have been a reason that Clark couldn't grab that one. But still, nonetheless, nice idea from Edwards to realize that was the easiest way to potentially get an out. They just weren't able to do it, and that's the kind of day it's been for the Ironmen. They've had a couple of fielding miscues, and Scouts have been able to take advantage thus far.
That would have been a hard throw to first to get out Cale Giddings, so I don't know if they're going to roll out a fielder's choice or an infield single. We'll let you know. So, personally, I think it should be a single.
Eli Gilcrease now up to the plate. First one to him. Big swing and a miss there.
I think he gets a hit because there wasn't an error. If there was an error, it would have been a failed fielder's choice.
And they are going to rule it a single.
Gilcrease is going to ground that one towards Edwards at short. He's going to flip to second for one. And he's going to be safe at first, so that means Kyle Carnahan will come around to score the 8th run of the ball game for the Scouts.
So Gilcrease reaches first in the RBI fielder's choice. Cale Giddings is credited with a single before he's put away at second. And now David Goss stands at third after being advanced.
So now Wyatt Hogan will come up to the plate for the Scouts with 2 down. Scouts on top, 8-0. First one to Hogan. And he's going to sky that one out towards left field. And that one's just going to drop into the field of play. I couldn't see what happened because of my obstruction. Terry, did you have a better view?
Well, there was about 5 Ironmen there, the 3 players, and Brooke Clark, Jeff Edwards, and Zach Zyber that we've seen, but also a couple of pitchers warming up in the bullpen in the exact same territory, all converging in the same spot. They tried to get out of the way, but it was too late. So a lucky break for Wyatt Hogan. So I'm not sure who dropped it exactly, but I think that's just going to count as a drop for all of them.
So it'll just be a foul ball for Wyatt Hogan with runners on the corners, 2 down. Top of the 4th inning. Scouts on top, 8-0. The 0-1. Gilcrease on the move. Wyatt Hogan's going to pop that one out in foul territory again, and it'll just foul because Stevenson couldn't quite get over to that one in time.
Good effort, though, by Tyler Stevenson. Threw off his max and absolutely sprinted to his left for it, but just a little out of his extended glove's reach. And Hogan already with 3 RBIs on the day in a perfect spot to get number 4. He only came in today with 7, so a very productive day at the plate for Hogan so far.
1-2 count to Wyatt Hogan. Runners at the corners. And the 0-2, Gilcrease on the move. Hogan's going to pop that one out again. See if they can range over to that one. And Zybert's going to get all the way to that one from left field to get the out, but not before the Scouts add on another run to their total. They now lead 8-0, but they did leave a couple runners stranded.
They didn't. They've left runners on each and every inning so far. They left 1 on the first, 1 on the second, both of those in scoring position. 2 in the third, 1 of those in scoring position. And then 2 again here in the fourth, 1 in scoring position.
So Dylan Donnelly will be back out there once again for the Scouts. Has an 8-run cushion. And that's something that if you're a pitcher, you just got to kind of laugh at because you always want a little support from your offense, but you never think you're going to get quite that amount of support here because it's only the bottom of the 4th inning.
And Dylan Donnelly is definitely going to take it. He hasn't experienced something like this all year long. I don't know if any Scout pitcher really has. Down Monday, the Scouts bats did give a lot of runs to Ben Aldridge in that 7-2 lead they had going to the bottom of the 9th inning. That was, again, only a 5-run lead at max. We got an 8-run lead right now. Of course, Scouts eventually gave up 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th before they lost that heartbreaker to the Copperheads. The 4th time they've been walked off against this year. And I have to imagine after we've seen JT Perez in the pen for a full inning that he'll come out to replace Whitaker here in the top of the next inning.
Now
we'll have Tyler Byers to lead it off for the Ironmen. Terry, who's going to be up after Byers?
After Tyler Byers will be Chris McDonald, who struck out last time, as did Byers, and Cole Nito, the right fielder, who lined out to Cale Giddings.
First one to Byers, a big swing and a miss for strike one.
Byers worked to a full count before he was struck out by the righty Dylan Donnelly.
The 0-1. And that one's going to be in there for a called strike two. A lot of movement to that one as Byers falls behind 0-2.
Yeah, it fell to the bottom of the strike zone. Beautiful pitch from Dylan Donnelly.
And the 0-2. Misses way outside, Gaunt tried to stop that one, but didn't have to try too hard. Nobody on base, no harm could be done. Unless Byers had swung, then would have been a little bit of an issue.
Only one strike away from 6 on the day.
The 1-2. Misses just outside. 2-2 the count.
And 6 strikeouts would be, again, a tie for his season high.
The 2-2. Got him looking. Strike three. 6th strikeout of the game. And like you said, that's going to tie his in-game total for strikes with strikeouts with 6.
2 strikeouts for Tyler Byers, who is second in the league in batting average, batting .407.
But Byers does also lead the team in strikeouts. That'll be his 18th one of the season.
I think he's an all-star this year.
First one to Chris McDonald, swing and a miss for strike one.
McDonald also went down from the K variety back to start off the bottom of the second inning.
0-1 misses outside and low for a ball. 1-1 the count to the Charger from Hillsdale College. The 1-1. Swing and a miss there on a nice pitch there from Donnelly. That had a lot of movement to it.
That was actually in the dirt when that was swinging on for McDonald, so you know he has to be thinking about that one, saying, why would I go that low?
And the 1-2. Grounded towards Lee Salmon over at short. No, get that one over to Cale Giddings in time for out number 2.
The Scouts field has been finding solid backup for Dylan Donnelly when the ball has been put into play. Only 2 hits on the day for the Ironmen, and one of those was then caught stealing on a beautiful throw from David Gaunt.
First one to Cole Nito. Pops that one up towards the right side of the infield. Mikhail did all he could to get to that one. It just barely gets out of play.
And the reason it did is because the tarp's sitting right over there on the first base foul line. If it wasn't there, he could have reached over the fence and picked it up. Cale
should have just popped down the tarp.
Should have just hopped over, Derek Jeter style. But one quick correction, 3 hits on the day for the Ironmen, not 2.
0-1 count to Cole Nito from Baldwin Wallace. 0-1 is popped out towards short right field again. That'll get out of play.
And Donnelly one strike away from his 7th of the afternoon. That would be a season high for him in one game.
The 0-2. Outside and in the dirt for ball 1. 1-2 count to Cole Nito.
Dylan did come in today with 20, so very familiar with strikeouts. Also had 22 walks going today and 0 on the afternoon.
1-2 is low and outside in the dirt again. 2-2 count to Nito. He evens it up.
Of course, no activity in the Scouts bullpen as would be expected. Such a great start from Dylan Donnelly.
And time is called behind the plate. Don't know what they're signaling about.
I think David Gollins an appeal of some sort.
I think he's talking about the count, maybe?
It's 2-2. We're both positive.
It is 2-2.
The umpire also says it's 2-2, so I don't know what the issue is.
Maybe David thinks it's a 1-2. I'm not sure.
It's definitely 2-2. Both balls went low.
And yeah, you just heard him say he asked his partner for help on the count, so maybe originally didn't think it was 2-2 and something changed it along the line.
I'm not sure, but it's definitely 2-2. So we'll do it at 2-2.
And the 2-2 misses up high for ball 3, full count to Collegiate.
This will be the third full count of the day for Dylan Donnelly.
3-2 is going to miss outside for ball 4, and Donnelly struggled with walks in his last start, but that's his first one on the day.
And after I just mentioned how he hadn't had one, then he throws 4 straight balls. That's my fault.
Now we know it's all your fault. Thank you for that, Terry.
Yeah, that's on me.
So Zach Zybert will come up to the plate. Zybert did get a hit back in the second inning. First one to Zybert. In there for a called strike 1.
I always love it right after a walk when a pitcher goes right down the middle.
The 0-1. Grounds on one just past the diving Cale Giddings. That'll be a base hit. Miles tried to barehand it but lost control. And that's going to allow Nito to advance to third.
I think it should have easily been Nita going to third on that slow roller that got to right field. I don't know why he stopped a second, but eventually realized the situation. Miles Wright still hadn't had the ball in his glove yet, so did eventually get there to put runners on the corners.
So Brooke Clark now will come up to the plate for the Ironmen. They finally have a runner in scoring position down at third now. Runners in the corners, 2 down. First one to Clark, just misses outside for ball 1.
Clark struck out looking last time on a full count.
The 1-0. Just misses inside, 2-0 the count.
Only trying to recompose himself and get out of the fourth inning with the 8-0 lead intact.
The 2-0. Just got a piece of that one hit off of, I think, Gaunt's face mask for a 2-1 count.
Now the Ironmen have got a single in each inning for their 4 total hits of the game.
2-1 count to Brooke Clark. Runners at the corners. 2 down. Scouts on top 8-0 here in the bottom of the 4th, but the Ironmen are threatening. The 2-1. In there for a called strike 2. 2-2 count to Brooke Clark.
Good work by Donnelly to even it back up after going up 2-0.
2-2. Got him looking. Strike 3. That'll be the 7th strikeout of the game for Donnelly. Second time he catches Clark looking.
And the second time that ends the inning for Clark, and this time he leaves 2 on instead of 1, and the first runner that got into scoring position on the day for the Lorain County Ironman after Nito was walked. He was singled to third base, 90 feet away from the first score of the contest for the Ironman, and then he's going to be left stranded.
So after 4 innings of play, Scouts on top by a score of 8-0 over the Lorain County Ironmen. We thank you for making us a part of your day here on our Google/YouTube Hangout. You can, of course, find us on all our social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And we officially will have a new pitcher, and it will be JT Perez. Like we mentioned earlier, saw him warming up in the bullpen.
Actually, I don't think that's Perez. I think that's Jacob Nappy. I believe that's 28, not 29 on the rubber. I'll give it another look. I could be wrong. No, it's definitely 28. I might have missed that one originally as well, most likely did. So that's going to be definitely Jacob Nappy, number 28. Another lefty, not the number 29 lefty, JT Perez, and I definitely know that's Jacob Nappy because Jacob Nappy's 5'10", Perez is 6'4". Common knowledge of the mound, that's the 5'10" pitcher. So Jacob Nappy, he is a lefty, 5'10", 170, a colonel from Eastern Kentucky University, far away from his hometown of Little Silver, New Jersey. This will be a 10th appearance of the year. He has a 1-2 record. All of his appearances have come out of the pen. Has not pitched against the Scouts yet this year. He has a 9.52 ERA. 13 strikeouts compared to 12 walks and 11 1/3 innings pitched. Has given up 21 hits. And his last start back on July 10th against the Galleon Graders, he received a loss after going 1 inning and giving up 3 runs on 6 hits and 1 walk.
Miles Wright will lead it off this inning for your Xenia Scouts here. It's the top of the 5th inning here at the Pipeyard at Lorain County.
First in the 5th for the Scouts, number 2, Miles Wright.
Miles 0 for 2 today. Did have a nice hit before his caught by Jeff Edwards last time.
First one to Miles. Catches the outside corner for a called strike 1.
So he lined out in the 3rd and hit into the 5-4-3 in the 2nd.
Now the 0-1. Misses just a tad upstairs. 1-1 the count.
Final stat line and Dan Whitaker, 3 walks, 8 runs. Only 5 of those were earned through his 4 innings of pitching.
1-1 catches the outside corner again for a strike 1-2 the count.
Also, I believe 8 hits given up by Whitaker.
The 1-2. Miles gets a nice piece of that one out towards left field. But Zabert will get under that one for the first out of the inning.
So Miles struggles today. Continue. Again, another well-hit ball to deep left field. Zabert easily able to put it away as the lights come on here at the Pipeyard.
Solomon now up to the plate. This will be his 4th time coming up to the plate. Does have 2 walks and reached on an error in the 2nd inning. First one to Solomon. Low for ball 1.
Do we see Zach Wiley on deck, placing Austin Orr.
Hey, Sam.
The 1-0. In there for a called strike 1. 1-1 count to Lee Solomon.
So Austin Orr finishes day 1 for 3 with an RBI single.
I mean, they kept the worst guy. They kept the worst one in the bunch. No.
1-1. In there for a called strike 2. 1-2 the count.
He has been on all 3 times today, so see if he can get on base for his 4th consecutive at-bat.
Why won't they send one of you guys? I mean,
And the 1-2. Solomon's going to fly that one out of play. Stay alive at 1-2.
Indian guys been there 32 years. And they cut the Browns guys. Probably one of the worst.
Jacob Nappy coming into the game, making his 10th appearance of the year. Scouts already have 8-0, so he's been a bit of a rough spot.
The 1-2. Misses low for a ball. 2-2 the count.
He's already walked twice, so you know he's going to stay patient on the plate even after having 2 strikes against him.
The 2-2. Solomon grounds that one over towards short. He's going to be just out at first for the second out of the inning, and I think his bat might have cracked.
Absolutely. You can just hear it up here in the press box. I think we saw a little bit of a sliver of it fly off, but definitely cracked the bat. But a beautiful play at first base by Chris McDonald, because that throw was low from Jeff Edwards and had to be dug out with a shovel. And Chris McDonald did a good job.
So Zach Wiley will now come into the game for Austin Orr in the DH role. He'll replace his Union teammate in the lineup. First one to Wiley. Just misses for ball one.
Zach Wiley, the batter for Xenia.
Wiley came in today batting 167.
The 1-0. Pops that one out towards right field. We'll see if that one stays in play. And it just gets out of play another time. The Tarp plays an advantage.
And that's a big one because Chris McDonald, a big righty, Lorain County Ironmen definitely could reach across that fence to where it fell down and put it away for the last out of the inning. So Zach Wiley got lucky he was safe from the start there.
1-1 count to Zach Wiley, the catcher coming in the DH role, pinch hitting for Austin Orr. 1-1 misses low for ball two. 2-1 the count. And the 2-1. Just misses outside. 3-1 count.
Wiley on the year with 6 walks. One ball away from number 7.
And the 3-1. Well, he's going to ground that one out towards right field. That one will get through for a base hit.
9th hit on the year for Zach Wiley. That one going opposite direction.
So now that'll bring up Christian Binger. Binger 1 for 3 on the day. Had a hit in the first inning. Grounded out in the second, and then flew out in the fourth. First one to Binger. Misses inside and low for ball 1.
Christian has not drawn a walk today. Again, has 26 on the year. Had one in yesterday's contest.
The 1-0. In there for a called strike 1. 1-1 the count to Binger. And the 1-1. Just got a piece of that one, but it's caught by Stevenson behind the plate for a foul tip. 1-2 the count.
Zach Wiley does have 1 stolen base on the year, but will most likely not be seen him try a steal with 2 outs.
And the 1-2. Misses again. 2-2 count now to Christian Binger. And the 2-2. Just misses. Binger's going to stay alive up there with the 3-2 count.
That one broke. I guess it broke into zone a little too late when it was crossing the plate a bit high for bringing a strike zone to make it a full count. Second one of the day for Christian.
The 3-2. Ringer takes that one towards the left side, but it'll get out of play. Do it again at 3-2.
Good cut from Christian. Little. Yeah, a nice beat the ball.
And the 3-2. And they're going to call look. Well, strikes to end this top of the fifth. It'll be the only thing so far the Scouts did get one run across.
And be the first team that's got 2 hits either, as Zach Wiley was the hit of the top of the 5th.
So the Scouts still on top by a score of 8-0. Here with the Lorain County Ironmen, Dylan Donnelly will be back out, of course, for another inning of work. Had to go as deep into this game as his body will let him up to this point. We've seen at least 7 innings a couple times here this season.
Scouts trying to conserve arms with love. One of them will most likely actually come into the game. Thomas Wine did not pitch in yesterday's 3-2 loss, so I have to imagine he'd be the first candidate up to replace Donnelly.
My bold prediction is if and when the Scouts do go to the bullpen, it'll be Lincoln.
Well, see, we did see Lincoln Reed back against the Lima Locos, the first game at Simmons Field this year. He pitched 2 innings and didn't go any earned runs. He's a lone player on the team with a 0.00 ERA on our website. So that is a bold prediction from Lance. I'm going to stick a little more conservative and say it'll be Thomas Warning.
That's just the difference between you and me, Terry. I like to go for the gold. You like to just be content with the bronze.
I mean, that's the goal. That's a medal in the Olympics. I'd be very happy with a bronze.
Tyler Stevenson now to the plate. He fouls it off. The 0-1. Lines that out towards the right field. It'll get out of play.
Stevenson struck out on 3 pitches last time. Now down 0-2 against Donnelly.
See if history can repeat itself. Stevenson falls behind 0-2 to Donnelly. And the 0-2. And it will down swinging on the foul tip. It was caught by Gaunt for another strikeout. Donnelly's 8th on the day.
And between the 7, 8, 9 batters, there's now 5 strikeouts as the 9 batter, the center fielder Zach Reed, who struck out on 4 pitches, comes back to the plate.
First one to Zach Reed. Show bunt. It just gets past the diving Dylan Donnelly. Carnahan's going to get over to field it, but it's going to get way past Kyle Carnahan. And I think it might actually have also gone into the Scouts' dugout, so that's going to allow Reed to get over to second.
It's a beautiful bunt single by Zach Reed. Caught everyone off guard. And then the first error of the day on the Scouts by Kyle Carnahan will put him in scoring position at second. As we go back to the top of the order for the Ironmen for the 3rd time today, and Jeff Edwards.
Jeff Edwards now will come up to the plate. He's 1 for 2 on the day with a hit back in the 3rd inning. First one to Edwards is in there for a called strike 1.
He's probably the second best player after our catcher.
The 0-1's going to be outside for ball 1.
Again, Scouts coming today 18-15, game 3 and 34 start for Kyle Carnahan on 3rd base after he just made that error. We should still mention what a great player Kyle has been.
1-1's going to fly out of play. Makes it a 1-2 count to Edwards.
In fact, Kyle has played every single inning for the Scouts at 3rd base this season.
That's why we gave him the nickname Mr. Hot Corner. And the 1-2, and that's to strike him out. They're going to try and throw him out. And they do, and that'll end the inning. And they got a little too greedy on that one. Reed tried to swipe third, and Gaunt caught him stealing. That's the second time Gaunt's caught somebody stealing today.
That's the 9th strikeout of the day for Dylan Donnelly. Have a day, sir. He has been dominant through 5.
So after 5 innings of play, Scouts on top by a score of 8-0. The Ironmen got it on last. Zach Reed, he reached second on an error by Carnahan, and then tried to get greedy, trying to swipe third, and that's just something you don't do when David goes behind the plate. It's not something I would advise.
I wouldn't either, especially as we've seen predominantly fastballs on the day from Dylan Donnelly. That's just what we saw there, and in plenty of time to his Washburn teammate Kyle Carnahan. We saw Zachary try to get up and try and finagle his legs around the tag, but not going to be able to do that.
So now we get set to start the top of the 6th. Jacob Nappy will be out there once again for the Ironmen. Still have some action out in their bullpen, of course. Just some guys getting loose. It appears no one throwing quite yet.
Come aside for the Scouts with their 8-0 lead here in the top of the 6th. Will be Kyle Carnahan, the third baseman. As we go 4, 5, 6. We'll start off, and then David Gaunt, the catcher, who's been on all 3 times today, 2 for 2, got hit by a pitch last time. Carnahan is 1, and he's for 2. He singled his time up. And dead play for the game.
Carnahan will come up to the plate. Did have hit his last at bat in the 4th inning. To score. Scored 2 runs today.
We wouldn't expect it from their 8 runs put on, but the Scouts have left 7 on through 5. So
First one to Carnahan. This is outside for ball 1, and that's been a reoccurring theme throughout most of the season. The Scouts leaving on runs, but with their 8 runs on the board, not as big a concern today.
not at all.
The 1-0. And Carnahan will get under that one. It'll fly out towards left field. And Zybert will get under that one for the out. And it was kind of similar to the play in the 3rd inning when Carnahan got under it and Zybert appeared to get under it. And he just dropped it. Carnahan was able to get to second, but that time Zybert makes the play.
I don't know if Zybert's losing in the lights or what, but he backpedaled about 5 steps that time, then came up slowly, and then a couple of quick chop steps, and before he was finally put it away after he backpedaled about 1 more time. So even though he put it away, we did see some struggles in the field from Zybert.
First one to David Gaunt is skyrocketed out towards left field. And that time Zybert able to get under that one as well for the 2nd out of the inning.
So the 2 Ichabod's heading to the same area in left field, and Zach Zybert able to put both of them away. So 3 pitches, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th for Jacob Nappy.
Cale Giddings will now come up to the plate. 1 for 2 on the day, had a sac fly back in the 3rd that scored a run. First one misses inside for ball 1.
You have to imagine Cale's going to look at the first pitch because he doesn't want Nappy to get out of the inning with only 4 pitches.
The 1-0. Hit out towards the right field, but that one will get out of play. One count to Cale Giddings, the first baseman from Lake Erie College, the Akron transfer. The 1-1. That one just misses low for a ball, 2-1 the count.
Cale 1 for 2 today, came back 262, and Cale's kind of solidified himself as the predominant starter at first base. We do see Lincoln Reed every once in a while to spell him. Cale definitely getting a lot more playing time than when he first came to the Scouts.
The 2-1. This is a tad upstairs. 3-1 the count to Cale Giddings. Does have 10 walks on the year, getting a little ahead of myself.
And he had 2 yesterday.
3-1 count to KO Giddings. And the 3-1. And that one's just in there for a called strike 2. KO thought about chucking over his bat, but decided against it.
I think the members of Scouts have learned in this league that some of these home plate umpires are a little delayed on their strike calls on 3-ball pitches. So you have to hold off on throwing the bat just a few extra seconds before you look silly.
And the 3-2. And KO's going to foul that one away to stay alive at 3-2.
So good at bat here from Cale Giddings after Carnahan went down 2 pitches when he flew out to left. Gone. His first pitch swinging to left field, and Carnahan working to a full count and then some.
Three-two count to KO Giddings. 2 down here in the top of the 6th. Scouts up 8-0. The 3-2. And swinging and a miss. KO's going to go down swinging, and that will be the first time today Scouts go down 1-2-3.
Yeah, first time they don't get a hit in an inning. And the first strikeout of the day for Jacob Nappy, the Colonel from Eastern Kentucky. It was definitely provided a spark on the mound for this Ironman team in the field, as they haven't allowed any earned runs these last 2 innings after allowing runs in innings 1 through 4.
So Dylan Donnelly going to be back out there once again for the Scouts, getting ready for his 6th inning of work, and he's been phenomenal all day already with 9 strikeouts through 5 innings, and that's the most he's had in a single game already. He had a season high 6 coming into today.
And that was in his last start, so you mentioned how Dylan seems to get better on a inning-by-inning basis as he goes later in the games, but he's also getting better as he goes throughout the season, strikeout-wise at least.
Sam Kohler will lead it off for the Ironmen here in the bottom of the 6th.
The next pitcher for the Scouts, Dylan Donnelly, is from Pittsburgh State University.
First one to Kohler. In there for a called strike 1.
Kohler 1 for 2 today.
And the 0-1. Grounds that one towards Cale Giddings at first. He's going to flip it over to Dylan Donnelly, and plenty of time for out number 1.
And 2 pitches, 1 out here to start the bottom of the 6th inning with that 8-0 lead still intact for the Scouts. They've just been dominant. No other way to put it.
Tyler Byers now will come to the plate. 0 for 2 today with a pair of strikeouts, and he came in today hitting .407. Good for 2nd on the team and in the league. First one misses up high for ball 1.
We should mention there's still no activity in the Scouts bullpen yet.
The 1-0. That one's going to be lightly fouled back into the netting in front of us. 1-1 count to Byers. And the 1-1. Bounces in front of the plate that time. That one got away from Dylan. 2-1 count.
So now I believe Dylan's at 77 pitches for the day.
And 2-1. Big swing and miss there from Byers. Evens it up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the 2-2. Misses low and away for ball 3. Full count. 3-2 to Tyler Byers.
We did see Will Cruz go for about 100 pitches on Sunday when he went 8 innings. And Coach Case is thinking the same for Dylan today.
3-2, swing and a miss. That'll be the 10th strikeout of the game for Dylan Donnelly. 3rd time Byers has went down on strikes.
And I usually mark down the strikeouts of tallies in my scorebook, and I've been out of room for quite some time now. And Right now, it just tallies on top of each other as Dylan Donnelly with an impressive performance on the mound tonight.
Tallies on tallies on tallies. Chris McDonald now to the plate. First one misses for ball one.
Don 0 for 2, struck out back in the second for no surprise, and then ground out to Lee Solomon in the fourth inning.
The 1-0. Fouls that one back, evens it up at 1-1.
I believe Q McGrath also had 10 strikeouts in the game against the Cincinnati Steam. That was the most strikeouts we've seen from a pitcher in one game this year.
1-1's going to be fouled back again. 1-2 the count to McDonald.
So Q's record is about one strike away from being broken by Dylan Donnelly.
The 1-2. Didn't chase that one outside in the dirt. 2-2 count to McDonald. And the 2-2. Lines that one out towards right field. Miles Wright's going to dive for it. And he got it. A diving catch from Miles Wright will end the inning, and I think he might have a case for Spidey.
Absolutely. Just put some web in that glove because he earned that Spider-Man there on the diving catch. We saw Miles dive earlier in this game, and that stopped the ball from bouncing over him. Could not make the out, though, that time. Was able to dive in plenty of time, and another beautiful catch from Miles Wright. Sometimes he gets overshadowed by Levi Gilcrease, who has been phenomenal. Maybe the best fielding outfielder in the entire league, but Miles Wright's made a ton of nice plays in right field this year as well.
So after 6 full innings, Scouts on top of the Ironmen 5-0. They haven't scored any runs since the 4th inning. The Scouts' bats definitely traveled with them up to Lorain County.
And they needed this victory. They didn't want to have that losing streak at 3 after a couple of games that you have to feel like the Scouts believe they should have won both of them, especially the 8-7 loss against the Southern Ohio Copperheads down at Athens on Monday. Maybe a little bit of a hangover yesterday, and that 3-2 loss against these Ironmen where the Scouts left the tying run on third base and Lee Solomon. Today, no question about it, it's been all Xenia trying to get win number 19 on the year. Came in today 4th in the league standings. They'll have a stranglehold of that, seemingly so, with the 8-0 lead here going to the top of the 7th.
So as we get ready for the top half of the 7th inning here at the Pipeyard, Lorain County, we thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday here. We're right smack dab in the middle of July 15th. Just a couple more games left in the regular season before we start postseason play. There is talk that the season could have a couple extra days to it, but that wouldn't affect the Scouts. At that point, they will already have all their games played.
They will. Scouts, of course, back home at Grady's Field with field turf, have not missed a single game at home this season. A couple of quick score updates. Lake Erie Monarchs crushing the Grand Lake Mariners 8-0. That one in the top of the 8th inning. But the Lake Erie Monarchs, as they surged up the Great Lakes League standings, will not be playing in the playoffs, we found out. Be playing a postseason tournament in Wichita, Kansas.
First one to Levi Gilcrease. Low and away for ball one.
At the end of the Scouts order of the 7, 8, 9 batters, Gilcrease, Hogan, and Miles Wright.
The 1-0. Lines that one back into the black netting in front of us. 1-1 count.
And that's important that the Monarchs will not be going to the postseason for these Lorain County Ironmen because right now they are in the playoffs, with the Licking County Settlers leading 3-1.
The 1-1. Misses inside to Gilcrease. 2-1 the count.
Settlers leading the Steam 3-1 at the bottom of the 7th down in Cincinnati. Scouts well ahead of the Ironmen in this one. That will send Lorain County to the A spot, which would be technically 7th, and one spot outside looking into the playoffs.
Gilcrease just gets a piece of that one to foul that one off. It'll be a 2-2 count.
Some of the scores: the Galleon Graders lead the Northern Ohio Baseball Club 5-2 in the bottom of the sixth. Lima Loca is up 7-3 in the top of the fifth. Down in Athens already won the first game in that doubleheader.
2-2 count to Levi Gilcrease, the outfielder from Baylor University. The 2-2. And he got him looking. Levi's going to go down on strikes. That'll be his 38th strikeout on the season.
And back-to-back strikeouts from Jake Nappy, going back to the last batter of the top of the sixth inning when getting struck out. So Jacob Nappy, the left-hander, definitely starting to get really hot on the rubber.
Wyatt Hogan now will come up to the plate here for the Scouts. First one to him. Hit that one out towards right field. That one will be caught by Nito, and that'll be one pitch for the second out of the inning.
Scouts went 1-2-3 last time. It was up to Miles Wright. The Navy in gray to avoid the same fate. Miles looking for that first hit, 0 for 3 today. Flew out to left field and Zach Zyber last time.
Miles Wright getting set up at the plate. 2 down here in the top half of the seventh. First one to Miles. And that one hits him and just must have grazed his jersey, and he'll walk down to first.
But a hit is a hit, and Miles Wright is able to walk on. First time he's been on today, so I imagine he'll take it. That will be the third time of the year that he's been hit by a pitch.
Lee Solomon up to the plate with Miles Wright over at first. First one to Solomon. Fouls that one back. Solomon originally from Columbus, Ohio. Went to Columbus Academy in Gahanna and now goes to Lipscomb, also where his father went to school.
Down in Nashville, Tennessee. He's over 2 today, but it's been on 3 times.
The 0-1. He lines that one out towards left field. But Zybert's going to get under that one for the final out of the inning. So Scouts do not go down 1-2-3 after Miles is hit by a pitch, but the inning ends after Solomon flies out to left.
Jake Naffy definitely moving quickly, gaining confidence. I have to think that Coach Joe Charbonnet would love to keep the left-hander out there for the duration of this game. He's doing a fine job. As we do see Thomas Wanning start moving to the Scouts bullpen area.
Yeah, Antonio.
So we'll see if how much longer Dylan Donnelly goes. I have to imagine they stick with him. He's been looking phenomenal today. I don't know why you'd want to really burn one of your relievers when you don't have to, at least up to this point.
Well, I think he'll definitely, obviously you go here in the 7th inning and Thomas begins to jog, but we did see Will go 8 on Sunday. I think that's what Coach Cates has in mind, unless he was able to go about 5 pitches each these next 2 innings. I can't imagine Dylan Donnelly would have a complete game. He'd be sitting around 100 if all goes well. But that's going to be my prediction. I'm saying they're going to try 7 for 8. They'll probably have Wanting try to close it out. As we enter the bottom of the 7th, Scouts up 8-0.
So Cole Nito will lead off this inning for the Ironmen.
After Nito will be Zach Zybert, the left fielder, who is 2 for 2 today. And then Brooke Clark, who struck out a couple times looking. Zybert, the lone Ironman, to have a lot of success on the afternoon.
That one's going to be fouled back, hit one of the poles up here up top.
And thank you for listening to Xenia Scouts Baseball. Myself, Terry Lash, and Lance Morris, trying to give you play-by-play accounts.
The 0-1. Catches the outside corner for a called strike 2, and Donnelly quickly gets up 0-2 on Nito.
And one strike away from his 11th of the afternoon.
The 0-2. Misses that one badly. That one actually bounced in front of the plate. 1-2 count.
Nito walked his last time up, the lone walk of the day from Donnelly. That was after Donnelly went 0-2, then threw 4 straight balls.
The 1-2 count to Nito, and the 1-2 pitch. Misses that one just a tad up high and inside. 2-2 count.
That one got away from Donnelly a little bit. Good catch from David Gaunt down the plate.
And the 2-2. Grounds that one over towards Christian Binger at second, but he mishandles it. And then now Nito's going to be safe over at first. Don't know if they'll charge that as an error or an infield hit, and they're going to actually rule that an error on Christian as it flashes out on the scoreboard.
And then we just bounced off his glove. That's going to put Nito on to start off the bottom of the 7th inning. Tough break for Dylan Donnelly.
Zach Cyrus.
Zach Zyber now will come to the plate. He's 2 for 2 on the day with a pair of singles. First one to Zybert. Just misses outside for ball 1. The 1-0. Lines that one over to Binger at second. It goes to second for 1, and they're going to get it over to first in time for the out. They're going to say, I think, that one hit the ground first. And so Christian trapped it, but nonetheless, a double play for the Scouts.
I don't know if it hit the ground first or not, but Christian Binger definitely sold it like it hit the ground first because there was no hesitation as he went to second base right away, which would be the smart play as Nito was back to first in plenty of time, so he wouldn't have been doubled up on the throw, but would have on the double play.
First one to Brooke Clark, misses a tad outside for ball 1, so Christian quickly makes up for that error by getting the double play. The 1-0. Fouls that one back into the net and evens it up at 1-1.
And again, Dylan Donnelly very quickly working here in the bottom of the 7th, so you have to think he would come out in the bottom of the 8th.
The 1-1. Misses that one low. 2-1 count to Clark.
Thomas Wanting out there for the Scouts in the bullpen, but hasn't taken his hoodie off even.
And the 2-1. This is a little up high. 3-1 the count to Brooke Clark.
Clark's had a full count and a 2-2 count on both of his strikeouts looking.
The 3-1. And that one's going to just miss inside for ball 4. Just the second walk of the day from Dylan.
24 walks on the year compared to his 30 strikeouts.
So Tyler Stevenson will now come to the plate for the Ironmen. He struck out twice today in each of his at-bats. First one to Stevenson. Big swing and a miss there. Gaunt's going to check on him at first. He's going to be in there in time as Kale doesn't even try applying a tag.
And good job by Brooke Clark getting back to the plate. Tyler Stevenson, not only has he struck out twice, and struck out on 3 pitches his first 2 at-bats.
The 0-1 is a tad up high, so first time Stevenson takes one, and it'll be a ball.
Again, Tyler Stevenson from Bethany College in his first game as an Ironman.
The 1-1. Just a tad outside for ball 2, 2-1 the count. The 2-1. Misses a little up and away. Ball 3, 3-1 the count.
And this would be dangerous for Dylan. Donnelly does want to walk back-to-back batters. We had 4 strikeouts in his first 4 duels.
The 3-1. Pops that one up. It'll actually just bounce in front of the Scouts' dugout. So now it's a 3-2 count, full to Stevenson.
Last time Donnelly was in a full count, he struck out Tyler Byers. That was in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Full count to Stevenson. Brooke Clark over on first after drawing a walk. And the 3-2. And that was going to bounce in front of the plate, and they're going to walk Stevenson. So 2 straight walks from Dylan Donnelly will bring up Zach Reed.
I do think we're starting to see a little bit of signs of fatigue from Dylan Donnelly, as that 3-2 pitch was not really even close in the dirt, and that's going to bring out Coach Bubba Cates.
So Coach Cates is going to come out to talk to Dylan Donnelly, and looks like the infield will converge with him. So definitely going to stick it out for now, at least make sure he finishes this inning.
Definitely think that makes it a little less likely that he'll go in inning number 8 now, as Thomas Wanning warming up in the pen. But again, still 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Scouts still hold that 8-0 lead, so plenty of wiggle room for Double D, Dylan Donnelly, to work with. Tyler Stevenson gets on for his first time as an Ironman with that walk. That brings up Zach Reed to the plate, the center fielder from Defiance College, not too far from here. The Yellow Jackets of Defiance College. He is 1 for 2 today. He laid down that bunt single last time. It was advanced to second on the air, Kyle Carnahan, before he was by David Gahn at third.
First one to Reed. Low and away for ball 1.
He's at almost 100 pitches.
The ball will get away from Lincoln Reed as the bullpen catcher. Time had to be called.
I believe that would be pitch number 100 for Dylan Donnelly.
The 1-0. This is low and away for ball 2. 2-0 the count. The 2-0. Ball up high, 3-0, and that one might have missed, but still had a lot of pop in the glove of David Gaunt behind the plate, so Dylan Donnelly still throwing pretty hard down there.
Yeah, his velocity hasn't changed. He's just had problems with location with these last 3 batters.
The 3-0. In there for a called strike 1, 3-1 the count to Zach Reed. And the 3-1 lines that one out of play, so it makes it a full count to Zach Reed, and Donnelly desperately needs something good to happen here.
Go with 2 on and 2 outs, 1 strike away from getting out of this game and getting that 11th strikeout of the day, which would be a team high for the season.
The 3-2, and he's gonna walk him. That'll be 3 straight walks for Dylan Donnelly. Loads up the bases for Jeff Edwards.
Jeff Edwards not who you want to see after loading the bases on walks, so Donnelly now to 4 walks on the day.
And that's going to do it for him. Coach Cates walk over to the mound, so looks like Thomas Wanning is going to come in. And he's thrown it past Lincoln Reed 3 times warming up.
So
not a great sign.
So hopefully Thomas Wanning will have more successful appearance on the actual rubber instead of the bullpen rubber. Dylan Donnelly goes 6 2/3 innings of spectacular pitching. Finishes the day with 10 strikeouts. That's good for a tie for the most by a scout in a single game this season. Didn't give up any earned runs yet, because any of these 3 runs on the bases will be earned to Dylan Donnelly as Thomas Wanning comes into the game. Did allow 5 hits, but hasn't allowed a hit since back in the 5th, and has now 4 walks on the afternoon to close his day.
So now we'll see what we can get from Thomas Wanning. Looks like he's throwing a little differently on the mound, too. He's not going all the way bent over.
You're right. Usually way more sidearm from Thomas Wanning. Once that's waist, still bends down, but definitely a different pitch point than we're used to from Wanting. Maybe just trying something out. Different arm angles. Something that Tony Campbell has in his arsenal. The only pitcher we've seen from the Scouts throws from different arm angles. The second starting pitch in a row we've seen from Wanting warming up, so we'll have to see when he comes out here with bases loaded and 2 outs, trying to get the Scouts out of a jam.
So we'll see what we can get from Thomas Wanning here as he comes in relief of Dylan Donnelly.
Last time we saw Thomas was in that game on Monday against the Southern Ohio Copperheads. Thomas didn't have a great outing in that contest as he started off the bottom of that 9th inning, putting the first 4 batters he faced on, allowed 1 earned run with the bases loaded. Than Joe Chase and allowed all 3 of those runs to score, so he finished the day with 1 inning pitched, 4 earned runs, and a couple of walks on 3 hits.
Jeff Edwards now up to the plate. Bases loaded, 2 down. Bottom of the 7th, Scouts on top, 8-0 over the Lorain County Ironmen. First one to Edwards, misses low and outside for ball 1. Edwards 1 for 3 on the day and the 1-0. In there for a called strike 1. 1-1 the count to Edwards.
And so far we've seen Wanting is throwing with that sidearm approach. That's what we've been used to all season long.
The 1-1. Ground zone to Lee Salmon at short. He's going to step on second for the force out, and that will preserve the shutout here after 6 innings of play. Scouts remain on top 8-0.
Big out for Thomas Wanting. A nice play from Lee Solomon as he picked the ball up and got the fielder's choice at second base to force up Zach Reed. And that time, 3 runners left stranded for the Ironmen.
So now it gets set for the top of the 8th inning. Scouts on top 8-0. It looks like Jacob Nappy will be back out once again on the mound for the Ironmen.
And for good reason. Jacob Nappy, ever since he came in back in the 5th inning, has been dominant. He's only given up 1 hit, has 2 strikeouts. 3 strikeouts after he got Levi Gilchrist a strikeout. Looking back in the top of the 7th inning, 1 strikeout per inning. And he's only allowed 2 base runners, and most importantly, no earned runs after Dan Whitaker allowed 8 runs, 5 of those earned. Jacob Nappy has been a fresh change of pace. We do see some activity in the Ironman bullpen, though. Try to figure out who's throwing out there.
Jacob Nappy getting set for another inning of work. Came back in the 5th inning to replace Dan Whitaker and has done a bang-up job since coming in. Hasn't allowed any runs to come across for the Scouts and actually hasn't allowed a runner to get past first base. So he has done a fantastic job in relief here today for the Ironmen. Coming up.
There's a pole right in my way for where I could see the numbers.
Sounds about right.
Of the pitcher's jersey. Last time I got it wrong. I thought I saw 29 and it turned out to be 28. Not guessing this one. We do know it's a righty. We'll find out when it comes in the game.
So now Zach Wiley will lead off this inning for the Scouts.
Zach Wiley leads it off from the top of the 8th for the Scouts.
It looks like Terry lost his pen.
Lost my pencil. It was on the ground.
Zach Wiley will be up to lead it off for the Scouts here in the top of the 8th. First one to Wiley. Misses up and away for ball one.
Zach 1 for 1 with a single. In his first at bat, he hit that one between first and second, opposite direction for the righty.
The 1-0. Misses low for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Wiley.
And that hit was the lone hit so far given up by Jacob Nappy.
2-0 the count to Zach Wiley. The catcher from Union comes into the DH today. Came in to replace his Union teammate Austin Orr. 2-0. Big swing and a miss there from Wiley. 2-1 the count.
Yesterday we did see Tyler Byers fall down on his butt after a huge swing. That time Zach Wiley very close to suffering the same fate. Took a few stumbles after that big swing.
The 2-1. In there for a called strike 2. 2-2. The count to Zach Wiley. The 2-2. Wiley's going to line that one down the first base line. It'll hook foul. We'll do it again at 2-2.
That was a good swing from Zach Wiley. That one looked a little low in the zone, but he was already committed. Great job making contact with it, putting a foul territory to stay alive.
2-2 count to Zach Wiley. Nobody down here. Top of the 8th inning. 2-2. Misses up high for ball 3. 3-2. A full count now to Zach Wiley.
So Zach Wiley, one of the lone scouts that's been causing troubles here for Jacob Nappy.
Three and 2 count to Zach Wiley. The 3-2 pitch. Misses inside for ball 4, and he'll walk Zach Wiley to start off this 8th inning.
So Zach Wiley's great day continues. And still 1 for 1, and has been on both times. Going to see his on-base percentage skyrocket up. After that walk, Wiley now has 7 on the year as Christian Binger comes to the plate.
Christian Binger now to the plate for the Scouts. And time is called right before Nappy could start his release.
Actually fell off the entire mound because he was already committed, but held on to the ball and had to take a few steps to end his momentum.
First one is in the dirt. It'll get past Stevenson, and Wiley's going to walk over to second.
So Wiley in scoring position with no outs. First time the Scouts have had a runner in scoring position since back in the 4th inning.
Binger now to the plate with a 1-0 count. And the 1-0. Binger pops that one over towards the left side of the infield. And that one will be caught by Clark in short left field for the first out of the inning.
Well, Christian Binger now 1 for 5 on the afternoon to extend his history to 10 games now, but that was all the way back in the 1st inning as Kyle Carnahan comes up to the dish. Kyle is 1 for 4 in today's contest, has scored twice though. He got on with an error in the 3rd and a single in the 4th.
Kyle Carnahan now to the plate for the Scouts. Just one down here in the top of the 8th. First one to hand. In there for a called strike 1 to the third baseman from Washburn.
A couple score updates. Lemon Locos lead the Southern Ohio Copperheads 7-3 in the top of the 7th down at Bob Rent Stadium. Locos going for their 7th straight victory.
And the 0-1. Misses low for ball 1. 1-1 count to Carnahan.
The Galleon Graders The Northern Ohio Baseball Club 5-3. That one's in the top of the 8th at Heisey Park. And the Lake Erie Monarchs still lead the Grand Lake Mariners in the big way 8-1. That one's in the bottom of the 9th at Eastview Park on Montgomery Field.
The 1-1. Carnahan's going to pop that one up out of play. 1-2 the count.
And Licking County Settlers lead the Cincinnati team 3-1 in the top of the 9th. That's big for the Lorain County Ironmen. Settlers win, Ironmen lose, and that will put the Settlers ahead of them in the league standings. And of course, the two games have already finished. Locos beat the Copperheads in the first game in doubleheader 2-1, and the Graders beat the Northern Ohio Baseball Club 7-5 in their first game in the doubleheader.
1-2 count to Kyle Carnahan. Nappy will step off and look back. Wiley at second.
Leave if the Copperheads lose and Scouts win. Scouts will still be a little bit behind them. In fourth place, Copperheads in third, but won't be by much.
The 1-2. Carnahan lines that one down the third base line. It'll go foul. Do it again at 1-2.
So Carnahan's done a great job as I calculate exactly what's going to happen if the Scouts win and the Copperheads lose.
1-2 count to Kyle Carnahan. Came today with a 276 average. Nappy will come to his set. And the 1-2. Carnahan rockets that one out towards right field. And that one's going to fall harmlessly, and he's going to go over the wall as Nino went all out and get that one. He falls over the outfield wall over there in foul territory.
Cole Neal giving 130% on that one. Bounced over the yellow barricade. Even in an 8-0 ball game, nice to see the right fielder with a lot of hustle. And I was wrong. Scouts win, Copperheads lose. Scouts will retake third spot in this league by percentage points.
Still a 1-2 count to Kyle Carnahan. Zach Wiley over at second base. And the 1-2. That's rocketed down third base line. Just goes foul.
Another long at-bat for Kyle Carnahan, who will not go away. That one barely missing the fair side of that third base foul line. Couldn't tip a toe into the fair direction. And again, he'll do it at 1-2.
Still a 1-2 count to Kyle Carnahan. We're in the top of the 8th inning here at the Pipeyard. And the 1-2. And Carnahan's going to foul that one off. He's definitely getting the most out of this at-bat.
Came in today with 19 RBIs on the season. Zach Wiley in scoring position at second. Could be number 20 if you can put it into play.
One and two count to Kyle Carnahan, the third baseman from Washburn. His Ichabod teammate on deck and David gone. The 1-2. He hits that one back up the middle. That one's going to drop in front of Edwards. He's going to flip it over to first in time for the out. A great play from Edwards over at short. He's made a plethora of nice plays over there today.
Unbelievable. Bare hand grab on an awkward bounce. Threw it while falling down. It's an 8-0 game, but Jeff Edwards has been nothing short of unbelievable for the Lorain County Ironmen.
David Goss, the catcher.
You know, he just took an awkward pop-up above Nappy between pitcher's mound and second base. Edwards had to come on a sprint, somehow barehanded and threw him out. Carnahan has a lot of speed, a very athletic player for the Scouts. And we see Lincoln Reed on deck.
So he would be coming in to replace Cale Giddings. First pitch is outside for ball one and just gets away from Stevenson, but not far enough for Wiley to move over there at third.
David Kahn at the dish. Gone is 2 for 3 today. He's been on 3 times. He has a RBI triple, a single one, and was hit by a pitch, and he flew out to the left field last time.
The 1-0. Misses low again. 2-0 the count.
We saw Zach Wiley move from first to second on a fastball. Now fastball would score the pinch hitter, who is in the DH role today, usually plays catcher.
2-0 the count to David Gaunt. The 2-0. Misses low and inside for ball 3. 3-0 the count to David Gaunt.
David came second on the team and walks of 17 coming into this contest.
3-0 count to David Gaunt. Zach Wiley over at third. 2 down here in the top of the 8th. The 3-0. That one will miss inside. 4, ball 4, and Gaunt's going to walk over to first, and Lincoln Reed will officially come up to the plate as a pinch hitter for Cale Giddings.
Zach Wiley started off this inning with a walk, and then a couple batters later, David Gaunt gets one of his own. He's been on with a triple, a single, a hit by pitch, and now a walk, getting on about every single way possible. Just needs a double and a home run for the cycle, but he also has the walk and the hit by pitch to his repertoire.
So Lincoln Reed will come up to the plate. The switch hitter will be batting righty against the lefty Nappy. First one to Lincoln. Fouls that one back for strike 1.
Lincoln came in today batting .202, has 10 RBIs on the year.
On 1 count to Lincoln Reed, the catcher from Taylor University, transferred from Hillsdale College.
Yesterday against the Ironmen, Lincoln went 1 for 4 with a single.
The 0-1. This is that one in the dirt. 1-1 count to Lincoln.
Again, another good block behind the dish for Stevenson.
Runners at the corners for the Scouts with 2 down. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Scouts on top 8-0. The 1-1. Misses low again for another ball. 2-1 count. And I don't know if it's just because we're used to the fast-moving pitchers of the Scouts, but it seems like Nappy takes a lot of time in between pitches.
And we do have a couple quick movers for the Xenia Scouts, but Nappy has his whole routine every time he steps on the rubber.
The 2-1. No one's grounded down the third base line. It'll just go foul, so it'll even up at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tough break for Lincoln, as that was deep towards foul territory after curving from fair to foul, and I think that'd be a hard time for Brooke Clark to make a play to first base if he was able to grab that one.
Two count to Lincoln Reed. Came in as a pinch hitter for Cale Giddings. Cale went 1 for 3 today with a sac fly. And Lincoln will ground that one back towards the Ironmen dugout. We'll do it again at 2-2.
After a long at-bat to Kyle Carnahan a couple of batters ago, another one here with Lincoln Reed. Levi Gilcrease on deck. It's 1 for 3 today with an RBI and a double, and a walk.
The 2-2. That one's going to miss low for another ball. That'll be ball 3. Full count now to Lincoln Reed. And Zach Wiley worked it to a full count. Last time it was a full count from Nappy. He got on with the walk.
Nappy nearing 70 pitches in relief now, as we do see a lot of activity in the Ironman bullpen.
3-2 count to Lincoln Reed, and the 3-2. And he got him looking. That's going to catch the inside corner for strike 3, and that will end the inning.
Tough break for Lincoln Reed. That one left pretty far inside. He can't do anything with it as he just watches it. And the Scouts will strain a couple of more runners here in the top of the 8th inning.
So we're going to see Thomas Wanning back out there for the bottom of the 8th inning. And Lincoln Reed will come in at first to replace Cale Giddings, just like we presumed.
Wanning came in back in the bottom of the 7th inning in a tough spot. 2 outs, bases loaded. Was able to get the ground out to Lee Solomon, who touched second base. Avoid giving Dylan Donnelly any earned runs in the contest after he went 6 2/3 of runless ball. And of course 10 strikeouts and 4 walks and only 5 hits.
So now we're getting set for the bottom of the 8th inning. Thomas Wanning back out there for your Xenia Scouts. Just faced one batter last inning in Jeff Edwards to get the out he needed. Got Edwards to ground into a fielder's choice, and they got Reed out at second, trying to go to second on the force.
And then Thomas Wanning on the mound now, but in the pen, Tony Campbell warming up. We talk about it often. Thomas Wanning, great in the setup role, good for usually the inning. That's his best style of pitching. After that, it gets a little dicey a lot of the times. We saw that on Monday. Maybe Coach Case will go to Tony Campbell to finish out the game in the bottom of the 9th. As we have a substitution, as Shea Durham comes into the game to replace Sam Kohler.
Shea Durham up to the plate. First one to him is in there for a called strike 1.
Durham plays second base the first time these two teams played at the Pipeyard.
The 0-1. Lining that one back up towards Thomas Wanning, and they're going to say it's a fair ball, and he's not even going to try running, and he'll be out easily. Didn't even make an attempt.
I've never seen that.
I guess that's what happens when it's an 8-0 game.
He didn't leave the batter's box towards first base. He accepted the fact that he was out. Thomas Wanning could have crawled that ball from the pitcher's mound to first base and still got him out in time.
And John Nahr will come in as another pinch hitter. He'll come in for Tyler Byers. That one's hit out towards center field. Levi Gilchrist is going to get under that one for out number 2. So just one pitch and one out for that time for the second out.
That was a good hit from Nara, but just right to the glove of Levi Gilchrist, who hasn't been worked very much in center field today. In fact, that might be the first time he's caught a ball.
And JT Perez is going to come in as a hitter. First one is going to miss outside for ball 1. I did think Perez had some hitting stats earlier on when I was looking up stats for the Ironmen. Next one misses for a ball, 2-0 the count.
So Perez replaces McDonald. So one two-way player replaces another two-way player.
That one's going to be flown out towards right field. Miles Wright is going to get under that one for the final out of the inning. So 3 pinch hitters come up to the plate for the Ironmen, and all 3 of them go down in order here in the bottom of the 8th.
Thomas Wanning facing a couple of batters that he might not have been expecting, but keeps his composure and does a great job. Last time we saw JT Perez, of course, was when he was on the mound here at the Pipeyard and just mowing down Scouts batters. He went 8 innings in that 12-3 victory where he got the win. And we will have a substitution on the mound for the Ironman. They're going to have a ton of substitutions in the field, and we'll try to keep those updated.
We'll do our best. It's gonna be a little challenging until someone helps us out.
And Frank Freight will come out here at the top of the 9th. The 6'4" righty from Walsh University. 212 pounds from North Royalton, Ohio. He's a sophomore for the Cavaliers. Here in the Great Lakes League, the righty has a 1-0 record. This is his 6th appearance. Only has 6 1/3 innings pitched on the season. Has 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 8 hits. The last time Freight was on the mound was all the way back on June 23rd against the Cincinnati Steam. This is only the 2nd time that Freight has pitched here at the Pipeyard. And in his last appearance, he only went 1/3 of an inning. Faced 4 batters, gave up 3 hits and an earned run before his day was over.
So Perez is going to stay in and play first base. That's the one defensive substitution I noticed right off the bat.
So 4 innings from Jacob Nappy.
Shea Durham's going to stay in at second base.
And Tyler Byers is a designated hitter, so we won't have to worry about Nara.
First one to leave by Gilcrease is going to be fouled back. So the changes in the defensive alignment for the Ironmen just go on the right side of the infield, and Durham going into second and Perez at first.
And of course, on the mound with Frank Freight.
They're going to have a quick little chat on the mound as Freight has probably never even had a conversation with Stevenson as this is his first game with the team.
So Jacob Nappy's Dan's 4 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, a pair of walks, and only 1 hit given up. Now it's to Zach Wiley. And most importantly, no earned runs.
Next one to Gilcrease. Gonna miss for a ball. 1-1 the count.
They've had 1 for 3 today with RBI.
The 1-1. Pops that one up towards the right side of the infield. And JT Perez is going to get under that one for the first out of the inning.
And Ironmen go for 1 tall first baseman to another as McDonald stands at 6'5" and Perez at 6'4".
So Wyatt Hogan will now come up to the plate for your Scouts.
He's 1 for 4 today, but does have 3 RBIs in this contest. Most he's had in a game this season.
First one to Wyatt. Catches the outside corner for strike 1.
Now we see Joe Chasen warming up in the Scouts bullpen.
The 0-1. And there for called strike 2. Wyatt Hogan quickly falls behind 0-2. And the 0-2. Not even close as that one bounces in front of the plate. 1-2 the count.
And back to my theory of swinging on third strikes. That would be wild pitches and getting to first base on the draw third strike.
You're really advocating hard for that
Oh,
one.
yeah. I need to bring it up to some of the players.
They also probably don't want their strikeout numbers to go up. But the 1-2, that one's going to be popped out towards right field. And that one's going to be caught by Nito out there in right for the second out of the inning.
It almost bounced out of his glove. It was an ice cream cone catch. We can see the white of the ball creeping out of his glove. He got bounced in there. So he's taking a look at it now. We did see an error on Nito earlier. Didn't see one that time.
Miles Wright will now come up to the plate. 0 for 3. Today was hit by a pitch his last at bat, and it barely grazed him.
That's the first time he's been on this contest, and I believe every scout that started was on.
First one is in there for a called strike 1 right down the pipe.
Every scout that started today did get on base.
And the 0-1. In the dirt for ball 1. 1-1 the count. One count to the outfielder from St. Edwards. 1-1 misses low and outside for ball 2-2-1 the count.
I was grounded to a double play in the second. Line out to short and a beautiful jumping catch from Edwards in the third.
2-1 low for another ball. 3-1 the count.
Flew out to left field Zach Zyber in the fifth, and then he was hit by that pitch in the top of the seventh. And here's his fourth at bat in the top of the ninth.
The 3-1. And that was a very low strike call for strike 2.
Also very late call. I think that's why Miles is already walking towards first base.
And the 3-2. Grounds that one towards Edwards at short. He's going to get it over to first in time for out number 3. Scouts go down 1-2-3 in the top half of the ninth, and they will go into the bottom of the ninth trying to hold on to this shutout.
There's Thomas Wanning back out there. So we saw Tony Campbell warming up. We still see Joe Chasen warming up. Campbell in his jersey. Chasen still in his hoodie. But he can easily just pull that off. It's kind of chilly night here as Ashley Campbell puts his back on. Lance and I have had our hoodies on in the press box since the get-go. The temperature here in Lorain County, just west of Cleveland, has seriously dipped. It was a beautiful day earlier. The Scouts actually came off the bus screaming in joy. What a beautiful day this is. A number of Scouts, Cale Giddings, David Gahn amongst those, so happy that the sun was finally out in Ohio. Didn't have to worry about rain. But now that has subsided for a chilly night here in the Rust Belt. It's 63 degrees right now in Lorain County, according to my iPhone.
So Thomas Wanning's going to be back out there for the Scouts. So just 1 1/3 innings so far, and I think I saw Zach Byers on deck as a pinch hitter. I think we're still going to see Cole Nito before him.
Yep, definitely see number 8, Zach Byers. So he'll come and replace Zach Zybert. So one Zach for another. Both spell their name with a C and a K, not a C and an H.
So now Cole Nito will come to the plate. First one to Nito. In there for a called strike 1.
Nito 0 for 2 today, but has gone the last 2 times with an error and a walk. That error on Christian Binger. 2 errors on the Scouts today.
The 0-1. Misses inside for a ball. 1-1 the count to Nito from Baldwin Wallace.
Yellow Jackets from Defiance College and Baldwin Wallace University for the Ironmen.
The 1-1. This is low and inside. Ball 2-1 the count.
Last 2 pitches, exact same spot, low in the dirt inside. Don digging those up.
The 1. Just misses outside. 3-1 the count.
After what happened on Monday, you have to wonder how short the lease will be for Wanting, even with this 8-run lead in the bottom of the ninth.
The 3-1. And that one's grounded foul from Nito. Makes it a full count, 3-2.
Whether it's playing professionally or going to school, he's just going to Stanford, so it's like education-wise, it's like kind of have a golden ticket. Just take play baseball. Go here for an education.
And the 3-2. Grounds that one towards Lee Solomon at short. Gets it over to first in time for out number 1.
Lee Solomon's great and short today. That time charges it, picks it up, throws it in plenty of time. As we see the first plate appearance from Zach Byers in the 4 games between these 2 teams. Zach Byers, the younger brother of Tyler. So 1 Yellow Jacket to another. That's one from Defiance.
That one we grounded foul from Byers.
guess he's like one of the best ranked pitchers in the league. And a few years ago, in 2013, he got
The
he was
0-1.
at Kent State, and
Grounds that one foul towards the Scouts bullpen. 0-2 now.
first round. Like, no, thanks. The Rangers were looking at him.
Wanting still looking for his first strikeout of the
I
night.
don't know what the reason was for that, but I think Keith Conley's one of the best ones. Yeah.
The 0-2. Hit the one out towards right field. And that one's going to drop foul. Luckily, because Miles wasn't able to get to that one in time.
Just beyond the Scouts bullpen, we've stopped seeing as much activity. He's still out there as Tony Campbell and Joe chasing, but no longer throwing pitches. As in Cook case, just hoping Thomas Wanning is going to easily be able to hold on to this 8-run lead.
1-2 count to Zach Byers. Brooke Clark still waiting on deck. The 0-2. Hits that one out towards right field, but Miles is going to get under that one in time for round number 2. Was ready for that one and was playing in a little bit, ready for that.
That's going to bring in Brooke Clark, who is over 2 today, but did walk last time.
I'd rather
Brooke Clark.
get an education first because I mean, crap.
Brooke Clark will come up to the plate. Just 1 out remaining in this contest. We're in the bottom of the 9th. Scouts on top, 8-0. First one to Clark. In there for a called strike 1.
Brooke has struck out twice, both of those to Dylan Donnelly. Finished the day with 10.
And they usually start like the lower leagues too.
The 0-1. That one's going to be lined into right field for a base hit. So Clark's going to reach with 2 outs, and the game's not over yet.
That's going to bring up Tyler Stevenson, who watched last time. Same story as Clark. That was the first hit given up of the now night from Thomas Wanning.
Hey Jeff, it's going to
Okay.
be Dylan Donnelly.
Tyler Stevenson now up to the plate.
You gotta get the symbol.
First one to him. That's going to be a strike, and they're going to just allow Clark to steal without any throw, as rather get the final out at the plate. The 0-1. This is low for a ball. 1-1 count. The 1-1. Grounds that one towards Christian Banger at second. He'll get it over to Lincoln in time for the out. And that'll be a shutout for the Scouts. Second shutout of the season since way back at the start of the season against the Lake Erie Monarchs.
And we're here in game number 34 of the year just completed, and that was game number 1. So a 33-game absence of a shutout before the Navy and Gray, but they do get it here in the Pipeyard, and they've won 3 straight here in Lorain County. Only 1 against the Ironmen, those other 2 against the Ohio Baseball Club, but the season series between the Lorain County Ironmen and the Xenia Scouts ends 2-2 after an absolute obliteration victory today for Xenia, 8-0. I believe that's their biggest victory of the season to beat this team H1 back home at Grady's Field. Beat the Licking County Settlers 7-0, I believe, or 7-1, I believe, right?
Sounds accurate. I can double check that for you.
So this will be the biggest victory of the season for the Scouts.
Yep, it was 7-1 against the Settlers.
7-1 against the Settlers, 8-1 against the team, but tonight 8-0 on the road in the Pipeyard against the Lorain County Ironmen, and it's a 17-run differential between the games here at the Pipeyard between these 2 teams, because the biggest loss of the season for the Scouts also here at the Pipeyard to these Ironmen, 12-3. So that just shows the flexibility of the game of baseball, folks.
It's a very, very different outcome than the last time these two teams played up here at the Pipeyard. It was all Ironmen that entire day. As we recall, there was a lot of hits right down each of those left field and right field lines that just happened to somehow stay fair. And today it was all scouts from the very beginning, since basically the first pitch, once Lee Solomon reached with a walk, and then Christian Binger got the hitting parade started.
I believe only 6 hits in the entire game for Lorain County Ironmen. 1 single apiece, innings 1 through 5. And then Thomas Wanning allowed 1 in the bottom of the 9th inning. But that was it. Ironman threatened twice when Colnito got to third base in the 4th inning after he was walked and then singled by Zach Zyber to third, but then a strikeout looking from Brooke Clark ended the bottom of the 4th inning. And then in the 7th, Dylan Dowling got a double play, then walked 3 straight batters before he was taken out. But Thomas Wanning got the ground out to get him out of that danger. And Thomas Wanning, this 2 innings tonight, was fantastic. Only allowed 1 hit. And he easily let Brooke Clark steal second, but it was a very easy victory for the Scouts here today, 8-0.
So now the grind doesn't end after today. Still have 2 more games against the Grand Lake Mariners. The next 2 nights will be on the road, each of those games. And then we have the double header against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club on Saturday. So still some more baseball left to be played, but definitely nice to get a win here today against these Lorain County Ironmen as the lights go off immediately down on the field.
Yeah, it didn't even allow the Scouts to get out of their huddle over there on the first baseline. They're getting out here at 9:58 in Lorain County. We got about a 3-hour, 15-minute drive home where we're probably going to be watching the movie Cars and maybe Narnia. We'll have to find out. We have a few more votes. Star Wars also on the table. Very excited about all of those nominations, Lance.
I would definitely enjoy seeing some Star Wars on the ride home. I got to be honest with you.
We would tell you that Dylan Donnelly's coming up here to the press box, but I can't see him down there, so I have no idea if he's coming up right now. Our stats guru, Jeff Connor, went down to the center for him a little bit earlier, so the team is now praying on the field.
I think Dylan's coming right now. At least I hope he is.
I believe, yep, now he's running, getting on the stand, so in a little bit, Dylan Donnelly will take over for me, but again, unbelievable day for Double D. He went 6 2/3, 10 strikeouts, ties for the most of the single game for the Scouts this year. 4 walks, 5 hits, and no earned runs in his second victory of the season. And here comes Dylan Donnelly, today's player of the game.
So do a little finagling up here in the press box to get Dylan on camera. Actually have it on top of our binoculars, but I guess we'll take it. So Dylan, you guys got the win today, a much-needed win. The bats got rolling early as you won 8-0. So I'll start with, before you even hit the mound, what was it like seeing your team get on the board early?
Oh, it was great. The past couple games, we've waited to the 3rd or 4th inning to put up some runs, and they came out hot. Really, they just want to throw up some runs early, and it's so much easier to pitch when got a lead. So that definitely took some of the pressure off of me.
So they get 2 on the board before you even take the mound. You get your first strikeout of the inning, and then in the second inning, batting picks up right again. You gotta like the run support you got today from the Scouts.
Oh yeah, it was great. That's kind of bulk what we are. A couple guys, and I've been going through a slump, and we're all starting to come out of it. We've 8 runs. I mean, that's normal for our guys. They are amazing hitters, and so they did a great job. They got into counts or hit counts early and stuff, and it was really good.
So the Scouts, their batters got rolling early. They put up a lot of runs in the first couple innings, but you yourself had a pretty good day. The strikeouts seemed to be flowing. What was working for you up there?
Really, mainly just threw my fastball in there. I wanted to get ahead of hitters. My last outing wasn't too hot, and so I really wanted to throw that first fish for a strike every time, and it definitely helped me be able to throw it in other parts of the plate, freed up where I could place it. And so, going into the game and into the last inning, I was like, oh, I didn't know how many strikeouts I had. I knew I had about 4 or 5, but when they told me I had 10, I didn't really believe it. So it's nice, though. It's nice.
You had 10 strikeouts. Your most coming into a single game was 6 before. That was in your last start, but you struggled with walks a little bit. So what was different today? Were you just hitting your spots more? What was going on today?
The last game, I think my mechanics were just shot. I saw a picture of me pitching and saw some things, and so I made some adjustments. And having Dave behind the plate, him and I, we click so well together, and he knows me and I know him, and so having a guy back there calling my game for me, it definitely helps a lot. And he was talking to me throughout the game, or yelling at me from behind the dish to make an adjustment or something like that. So he played a huge role in this.
So it's always great to have David behind the plate, one of the guys you've really connected with this summer. But what about all the other pitchers that you're around? Have they been giving you tips that you've been able to use as well?
Yeah, they'll see little things here and there, and during a game, you don't say anything to a pitcher, whether he's struggling or not. But in between starts, we're always helping each other. We're always talking about things that we could do better, how to hold a pitch maybe, or not get on top of the ball, or not your release point or something like that. And so they definitely helped me a lot.
Dylan, you guys win today by a score of 8-0, second start of the year since way back against the Monarchs start of the year. Dylan, great job today.
Thank you.
Now we'll get Terry Lash back on the headset. And he'll come back eventually. Maybe. I don't know. There he is. So now we get Terry Lash back on the headset. We messed with the camera a little bit,
There, that looks better.
But Terry
Slanted,
Scouts win today by a score of 8-0, second shutout of the season.
Yeah, and the first one since the first game of the year. We were just talking over there with the play-by-play announcer of the Lorain County Ironmen, and it's crazy how competitive this league is. Now Scouts number 3 in the standings after the Southern Ohio Copperheads dropped to 4 after dropping that doubleheader to Lima Locos, and now won 7 straight games. They're in first in the league. Settlers are presumably going to win, and so they're going to jump the Ironmen. So it looks like, considering Lake Erie Monarchs are not playing in the playoff tournament according to their players, and that's what we're going on the assumption of right now, it's going to be not maybe for much longer than Settlers 6 and Ironman 7. Those 3 teams are right in it. Copperheads and Scouts keep going back and forth between 3 and 4, so it is going to be a fun sprint to end the season, and we're still trying to get all those games played that the other teams have missed. Scouts now with 34, only 6 games left, and we got 4 in 3 days, 2 on the road next 2 days up in Salina against the Grand Lake Mariners, and that doubleheader against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club on Saturday. Those seem like 4 games the Scouts should be able to win. They would love to have a 5-game winning streak. Then against the Galleon Graders, another team that's been struggling this year, Scouts have an opportunity to make some movement, maybe try to sneak into one of those 3, maybe 2 spots in the playoff standings if somehow the Hamilton Joes or Lima Locos, which doesn't seem likely right now, start sliding.
So the Scouts have some very winnable games coming up. As you mentioned, we'll be facing off with the Grand Lake Mariners the next 2 nights on the road up in Salina, and then we will be back at home for our final home series unless we can get a home playoff game when we take on the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. So we've already basically covered everything we needed to cover today. With the Scouts, they win by a score of 8-0, get their second shutout of the season. We'll be back on the road at Grand Lake tomorrow as the Scouts take on the Mariners. Thank you for listening, and God bless.